Hey y'all, how are you doing today? We're going to be doing two things today. We're going to start with Paige Hannah. She did a second response on the YouTube channel, Under the Rug. And actually, you know what? Her video came out the day that I was packing for Mexico, and I was like, nope, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to pack, and I'm going to do my thing, and we'll get to when I get back. I was thinking maybe I was going to stream when I was in Mexico, but honestly, the internet there might be a little bit choppy, and I hate streaming when the internet's like blah, 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 blah. It drives me nuts, honestly, especially having to deal with it in the VODs. So we're going to watch her response today, and I know it came out a couple days ago, but when we're done with that, we're going to be doing I don't know why I keep saying we're going to be doing, it just sounds weird. We're going to be watching day 6 of the Karen Reed trial. Now, I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but apparently Tuesdays and Thursdays are half days, which I do like. If I was a jury, I don't know if I would like that. Maybe I would, because someone in my chat did mention that the jury could get some of their work done if they had like half days in court. Might be cool. I don't know. Hi, Moondog. How are you doing today? Hello. What's going on? Thanks for joining us. But I'm, I don't know. I don't really have much to say, honestly. With the Paige Hannah stuff, I believe she's going to get into more details about her involvement in connections, how she got Ruby and Kevin Franke introduced to Jodi Hildebrand and her involvement. And then I guess moving on to what happened when she let Jodi Hildebrand lived in her house, okay? Because there were some wild accusations about that, and we did go over it in regards to what Kevin Franke said. Kevin Franke said, I don't know, I heard that she was kidnapped. But the other story was that Jodi was going batshit crazy and she was trying to seduce the husband and they kicked her out, and that's why there's no relationship. I don't know. It seems like a hot mess, but we're going to hear from one side of the story from Paige Hannah. Hi, Kiki. How are you doing today? How's it going? And then we'll head on over to the Karen Reed trial. Now, the Karen Reed trial, what a mess of a trial. What a mess of an investigation. What a mess of 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 a mess. It's just a whole mess, okay? But I know that there's a lot of stuff, a lot of noise going on with this case. Honestly, I've read some articles previously before the trial started because I've heard some rumblings about it, and I was just kind of curious. But mostly, we're just going to go in it as if we were just sitting there. You know, we're kind of fresh, new to the case. I guess almost like as if you're the jury yourself. But we're on day 6 right now. They're doing a half day today. And yesterday, they did a voir dire process of one of the law enforcement because they're trying to elicit out information about things that happened 20 years ago, okay? But the reason why they're bringing up something that happened 20 years ago is to show that whether or not there is prejudice and bias towards the Albert family. So we're going to continue with that today. The judge has decided what she's going to let in about that questioning, and we go more into details about the investigator who goes into the house and he starts talking to the Albert family. But there's just still a lot of questions. I don't know. I feel like this case is just so hard for my mind to grasp because I'm so confused about, I keep confusing who's who, first of all, because there's a lot of people in the Albert family and then extended families and friends of families and da-da-da-da-da-da. And not only that, I'm confused on fucking timeline. I don't know. That's why I was thinking about maybe I should re-listen to the opening statements to try to get a timeline back together. But I don't think even opening statements, he was very clear about the timeline. I don't know. Why is your stream messing up? Are you the only one that's messing up? Hi, lady. How are you doing today? Hello, Kiki. Taxi, I hope your shit gets fixed. I don't know. I hope your thing's okay. I hope it's not me. Please don't let it be me. Please. Do you like my floral shirt? Thank you. These are my pajamas. Wait, so are you guys doing... press 1 in chat if your stream is working fine. Press 2 in chat if you're kind of like Taxi right now. You're like, oh my God, my stream is messing up. I hope I see a bunch of ones in the chat. Which give me the honest answer. I hope the stream's okay. I don't know. Dennis is not home today. He's not sucking up my internet, so hopefully it's good. We got some ones, 2. Oh Lord. Let me show you. I don't know. I think we're good on my end. It seems that we're fine. We got the megabits. We're streaming at 60 frames per second. I think we're fine. Let me know down the road if it continues for you guys, Morton, and for Taxi. But I hope not. I don't like internet issues. Okay, that's like a headache. I don't want to deal with no headache or anything like that. Anyways, everything's cool. Beekeeper. Oh yeah, take pictures, please. I look forward to this beekeeper journey. I thought it'd be really cool one day to become a beekeeper in the future. I don't know, like the way they do the honey and all that stuff looks really cool. And then having the bees buzz around seems awesome. I definitely look forward to pictures if you want to post them. All right, y'all. So I'm just going to kind of just jump right into it. You refresh the stream. It works now. Okay, good. Sweet. Awesome. All right. So we're going to start with Paige Hannah's video. It is about 40 minutes long. I'm going to speed it up and maybe I'll slow it down depending on what part of it and if I want to listen to how she the cadence of like how she talks, I guess. But I'm just gonna speed it up, to be honest. I'm gonna speed it up, and then maybe we'll slow it down, and then we'll get to the Karen Reed trial, day 6. It's only a half day today. All right, it's a half day today. I think it's gonna be probably about 2-3 hours. We're gonna cover it, and we'll have some commentary as well. You're gonna post some pictures? Yes. Okay, awesome, cool. And then as always, guys, I stream on Twitch and on YouTube. We're dual streaming right now. Feel free to join me on either platform, whatever you guys prefer. On Twitch, if you have Amazon Prime, you can use that and you can watch ad free. And then on YouTube, if you guys have like the YouTube Premium, then you guys don't get to see the ads. But if you do have to watch ads, though, I will say, I don't know if it's better on Twitch or YouTube. I made it so on Twitch that you only get ads every hour, and it's only 30 seconds long. But on YouTube, I think YouTube, the ads might be more aggressive because I have it at a conservative balance. It might be a little more aggressive than Twitch, but at least with YouTube, unless they change it, because I haven't gotten ads in a long time. Let's be real. Who watches YouTube with ads? Okay, it's a headache. You can skip the ads on YouTube. So I just want to give you guys a heads up about that. So choose whatever platform you want to watch this on, whatever you guys prefer. All right, guys. So let's start with Paige Hannah. And again, I'm going to have it sped up. And let's do this. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask in the chat. Or if there's anything you need to like refresh on, feel free. I'll do my best to answer.
Here we go again.
I like her jacket.
This is the second video where I explain my relationship with Jodi Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke and give some understanding of the timeline of events that led up to where they are now. I left off in the first video explaining that anytime you're willing to make somebody or something your God over a higher power, then you're in danger of changing who you are.
Because Jodi was like, hey, y'all, I'm God. Treat me as if I'm God itself. And a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people were giving her the side eye, but definitely she was starting to give Jodi Hildebrandt the side eye. It seems like there was a good amount of people that were like buying into this whole connection things, but there could be other people as well that were like, I don't know if connections is for me. I don't know. Jodi's a little bit too aggressive, and I don't really see her as a God. Hi, Rain. How are you doing today? How's it going?
To please them. And in this video, I'd like to talk about some of the things that I saw that showed me where I was giving Jodi control, where I was giving Ruby control, and where I was dropping me and my beliefs to serve that God or their God. I'd like to remind you that I am not doing this to seek money. There's no monetization. There's no comments below for a reason. I don't want anything to detract from my ability to be a good mom. And so the temptation to read comments is so great that I knew I needed to shut those off. I have provided an email.
That's right. Don't forget to tell Ruby Franke's sister, turn off your comments maybe. Well, what's her name again? Bonnie, right?
Address below for any comments or questions. And they are screened by somebody. So anything hate-filled or shaming is deleted before it sees me. I was blown away by the emails that I received. I thought that there would be plenty of questions, but I hadn't anticipated so many of you taking time to write me the most kind and validating and compassionate emails I've ever received. And I spent a lot of time crying at my computer as I read them, because I think you could see from that first video, there were some emotions that I thought I had processed.
I mean, maybe Bonnie should do the same thing. Like, hey guys, I have an email set up. It's going to be heavily fucking screened. So if y'all think I'm sending me shit, I ain't going to see it. I don't know. Maybe she needs to do that as well.
but hadn't gone deep enough. And it's taken me a few weeks to put out another one because I needed to make sure that I was good, my family's in a good place before I could continue. And it will continue to be that process. I'm not deliberately trying to leave anybody hanging. I will say that nothing that I share will be sensational.
I know. I wonder when Jodi, whenever she tells her clients, you have a porn addiction, I wonder if she just has like, I don't know, some sort of like power just like emanating within her veins where like it gives her so much power over them. And she's like, you have a porn addiction and I'm the only one who can help you. And they're like, oh my God, Jodi, I have a porn addiction. I had no idea. Okay, please, please, please tell me everything that I need to do. And she's like, yes, more people under my power.
I'm giving a very methodical timeline of events and my understanding as it escalated into my leaving connections and then recognizing where it went afterwards. It won't do anyone any favors for me to just jump right into that without explaining how somebody as masterful as Jodi Hildebrandt can walk you down a path to where you completely stop trusting your own judgment or the judgment of family members who love you and
she was like a fucking cult leader.
Basically give her all of your will. I introduced Ruby to Connections in 2019 or 2018, 2019. My husband and I took Kevin and Ruby on a trip to England and Scotland
We watched this on stream.
and Ireland for the purpose of family history. Now, anybody that was within the Connections program knows that where I was the most passionate was in.
Oh, wait a second. I don't know, actually. Hold on. Kiki says, is that a painting or a view? I have no fucking idea. Wait, it looks like a painting, but I think it might be it's a windowsill. I don't know. I'm pretty thrown off too. I think it's like blurred out. I don't know. I have no idea.
Explaining that pain and peace concept, that I explained in the first video. If you're not in peace, then you're in a state of pain. And my focus was that sometimes that pain is generational. And if you research your family's history, a lot of times you can see the pain, find the pain, and work to heal it in your own life, breaking those chains, those generational chains. And
well, they were going pretty far back in the family history, though. I don't know how going super fucking far back like that would help with your current pain. Like, I get like generational trauma, but they were like digging pretty far back where these were relatives that they've never met before, or like were super dead by the time they were born.
Was that understanding that I shared with Ruby and Kevin. So we took this trip, and I loved it. I loved my time spent with them. I loved learning about Ruby's family and educating her in where they came from. Kevin's family, the same. And it was really that trip where my husband and I became very close to Ruby and Kevin, and came to understand them better.
What?
On that trip that Kevin referenced in one of his police recordings, we did talk a lot about connections. I believe at that point Ruby had already been seeing Jodi as a therapist, and I
don't think Ruby was seeing Jodi as a therapist. I thought it was they hired Jodi as a therapist for Chad. I don't know if she was seeing as a therapist, like maybe later on as a marriage counselor, like later on.
I actually don't know if that recommendation did come from me or mutual friends, but she had been seeing her. I don't believe Kevin was. I do recall Kevin saying, "This is a cult." And if you had looked at Jodi's Google reviews, there were a lot of people on there that also said this was a cult.
Why?
In my ignorance.
Wait, so Kevin, you already identified it as a cult. Why were you continuing with these therapy sessions with Jodi? Why did you let her divide your family like this? Oh boy. You know what this reminds of? Get like Howl's Moving Castle vibes back here. All those who think it's a win or living in distortion, do better, guys. I can't. The word distortion and connection, I can't. Someone kept saying the word connection in the Karen retrial, and I just kept thinking of connection with a fucking X.
Ignorance. I didn't know what a cult was, and I didn't know how a cult functioned.
Hi, Fire.
Do you know how a cult functions? Here's some key things that I've since learned.
Teach us.
A cult has one person.
She's gonna teach y'all, so y'all never get into a cult, okay? Listen to her. I haven't pre-watched this though. I don't know if she gives good advice or not.
At the top, who is the exception to the teachings that they teach.
Okay.
I watched a documentary called Happy Shiny People that was very well done on the Duggar family. And as I was watching it, it was very painful because they followed this leader who was teaching them about family and about how to raise children, who was not married and who had no children. A lot of your emails.
Who else was not married, and who else didn't have good relationship with their children? I wonder.
And a lot of your questions said, how could you follow somebody who wasn't married and who had no relationship with their children? Jodi, first of all, didn't share her private information, so and not many of us asked at the beginning. In a parenting class, now would I ask? Absolutely. But at the time, she spoke in terms of parenting as if her children were still a part of her life.
Is she gonna drop the tea? Because we know that Jodi's daughter cut her off, but the son, it seems like she still had a relationship with the son, at least when the book was released, but then maybe later on, maybe something went down.
But at the time, she spoke in terms of parenting as if her children were still a part of her life. She spoke, it was a parenting class, so she rarely spoke on marriage, but it was known that she was divorced, but it was alluded to that it wasn't her fault. Obviously that changed over time
maybe she found out that her husband had a porn addiction, and that's why she has a hard-on for guys who watch porn, even if it's like once or twice.
Started paying closer attention and watching things. But when you're a part of something, do you even think to start asking all those kinds of questions? Here's a parenting class. It came with good recommendation of people I trust. I'm going to step into it. Some of you might do that kind of research, and good job. I tended to be more trusting straight out of the gate than I should have been. And so I didn't recognize that Jodi was the exception to her teachings for a few years.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was sitting in a parenting class and the speaker was not giving us examples about their relationship with their children, I don't know. I guess I would have been like, so do you have children? How many? Okay, all right. I don't know. I guess it would be really odd for me if I was sitting there and they weren't talking about their children and giving examples when they're talking about like a parenting class. Because I feel like one of the best ways to connect with someone is when you have like shared experiences that you can both relate on.
Jodi was also masterful at giving a 10% truth that she could tell and letting you fill in the gaps. So you were telling yourself the story that you wanted to hear. So she would speak to a daughter who, and as she's crying, telling you she didn't want her as a mother and just wanted a Disneyland dad, and you're like, oh, it's because she was holding her accountable or because the whole honest, responsible, humble thing. Is that the situation? Absolutely not. But that's what she was masterful at. So
I've never heard that phrase before, a Disneyland dad.
Recognizing, you have to recognize if somebody that you're following or somebody you admire practices what they preach, lives by their own lessons. And sometimes that's hard to do. It's the same with an organization. If an organization states that they help people, but you see over and over that they bleed out their employees, just get them to work, milk them dry, send them on their way. If they state to have values that they don't embody, it's no different. You've got to recognize the inconsistencies with the teachings. And it took me a really long time. If I could help you at this point, look at who you follow. Look at who you're married to. Look at your close relationships and see if they live in line with what they state to believe. If they don't, then don't give them power over you. Don't let their opinions be the one to sway you. That's right. You have to go find a higher source of power than yourself that you can rely on as a gauge.
I heard that she divorced once. I haven't heard of the 5 times thing yet, though. Have not heard of that.
As the spindle on your compass pointing north. Now, Jodi had become north for me. And a big part of the reason she had become north was because she's a licensed therapist. I took that term as being a licensed therapist as she was qualified, that she knew more than me, and therefore I was less than her. When Ruby came on into Connections and Kevin was like, no, this is a cult, we just kind of laughed about it because it was like, oh, he just doesn't want to look, or he just doesn't want to heal what? I have no idea. But those were the judgments that were passed by Jodi, demonstrated by Jodi, and easy to pick up. Because this had helped.
Hey, Lady K, wait, you haven't heard of the paint by numbers? So there's like, you got this canvas thing. It's divided by a bunch of numbers. And it's like, you use this blue color on all the ones that you see. So you paint in all the ones with the blues. And then there's like yellow. Okay, you paint all the 2s on here with this yellow. And then you paint in the yellows. And then by the time you're done with it, you have like this whole like, I don't know, some people do like Van Gogh, like famous artworks and stuff like that. Or like cute little drawings and stuff. But you have this like art piece that you've done. And all you have to do is just paint by the numbers. I've never tried it yet, but it looks kind of interesting.
Me and Johnny, then we were like, no, it really is good. Look this, look that, look this. And so Kevin was willing to give it a try. So in 2020, our friendship with the Franke's grew. I only met their children once and never heard, I didn't watch their YouTube. Franke's grew. I only met their children once and never heard, I didn't watch their YouTube channel. So I wasn't aware of any practices that, parenting practices that Ruby did that I thought were glaring.
Really? I don't know. If they took, I have a hard time believing that she didn't watch their YouTube channel. She didn't really watch their YouTube channel because I saw that she was trying to start a family YouTube channel as well. And I would assume that her being friends with, or her knowing of Ruby Franke and Kevin Franke, at least in the community, was a huge influence on them. Like, oh my God, these community, like this Mormon mom is doing really well. It's a niche little category. And I want to do the same thing because it seems like she tried starting a YouTube family channel as well. And I would assume that she did it because like she wanted to probably get close with them because, it's like kind of like good publicity and then try to see how they do it. But I don't know. I mean, it's not a big deal, I guess.
This and so Kevin was willing to give it a try. So in 2020, our friendship with the Franke's grew. I only met their children once and never heard, I didn't watch their YouTube channel, so I wasn't aware of any practices that, parenting practices that Ruby did that I thought were glaring.
Oh, okay. So she's like distancing herself from Ruby's like parenting practices. I see. I don't know if I believe that she didn't really watch it though. Hi, Lisette. How are you doing today? Yeah, I don't think it's flexing.
I was aware that she'd sent one of her children to Anasazi, and where that could have been alarming. I had a lot of friends. I knew a lot of people in my...
this is her talking about how they sent Chad to Anasazi because Chad was apparently bullying the brother and then, I don't know, acting up. But it just sounded like it was just normal teenage shit, you know, from what we heard.
In my high school who had also utilized this program that's intention was to go and basically take kids out of the environment that's harming them and to reset,
throw them into like a fucking camp, right?
Them in a way of living off the land and getting closer to nature. And so I was aware of that with the Frankies, but nothing that I thought was like...
Is the Anasazi camp, is that still a thing, by the way? Did they still run that?
Oh, they're horrible people, or they're really messed up. I mean, I thought they were really wonderful. And continued this relationship, right? Continued with them in a friendship, and continued with Jodi in working in business, trying to grow connections, working, learning to be a coach, because I thought, yeah, why not? Why not get certified in this? I know it really well. I practice a lot of it. I know it can benefit others. And this was in 2020.
Oh, hold on a second. So this is so dumb on YouTube. YouTube, when I initially have my chat out, it auto goes to top chat. So I don't see everyone's chat. That's why I was really confused what Master and what Lady K was talking about. I don't know if YouTube cares about the word simp. I know Twitch, yes, but I think YouTube should be fine.
In this year, I can't remember exactly when, but Jodi called.
Hi, good guy.
Sorry, I want to make sure this is accurate. How this came about. Jodi started confiding in me. We would have business calls, and then she would confide in me about having horrific nightmares.
This is how Jodi gets sympathy from people. She's like, oh my God, like the devil's after me. I'm having nightmares.
She said she wasn't sleeping.
What's the other liar again? There's compulsive liars, and there's what's the other one again? There's compulsive liars, and then there's, what's the other liar category, y'all? Help me, please. My brain is not working right now. Yeah, I think they say shrimp on Twitch too, but
how this came about. Jodi started confiding in me. We would have business calls, and then she would confide in me about how...
Pathological, yes. Thank you, Lady Acid. Yeah, pathological liar.
Having horrific nightmares. She said she wasn't sleeping, and when I asked the nature of these nightmares, they were out of a horror movie. I didn't understand them. I knew I wasn't qualified to help with them, but I just saw it as like she needed somebody to talk to. She needed someone to talk to express these to, and must have trusted me enough as a friend to explain it.
And this is how she sucks them in.
One thing that was always common and present in these nightmares was that Satan himself was out to get her. And knowing what I know now about narcissists and how narcissists project.
And you know what? Maybe it was just her guilt coming at her with all the shit that she's done to who knows how many relationships, who knows how many kids in the past. But then in order to believe that, we have to believe that Jodi actually feels guilty for those things.
And also have these grandiose views of themselves. I can see that instead of it just being like a stranger out to get her or evil out to get her, it was like Satan himself, like the father of all evil is out to
No, Jodi's like, I'm so fucking important. I'm like almost God. Of course Satan would come after me. Duh.
Get her. Which demonstrates her belief on the flip side of she's called of God to teach connections to the world. And yes, I thought it was weird. It was one of those red flags where I was like, yeah, I see this is a red flag, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to make sense of it. Only that every so often, maybe once a month, once every 2 months, I'd ask how she's doing, and she'd say that she had another nightmare and that it was dark and twisted and terrifying and had to do with Satan and evil out to get her. Now she, like I said, she'd give you a 10% truth and then let you fill in the gaps. And so a lot of these stories, a lot of things she shared with people was to get you to sympathize for her and want to help her.
It was a way for her to get attention. Because I wonder when she was growing up in her childhood, she's like the youngest, right? I have like 5 fucking kids or something like that. I wonder if like parents just didn't really pay attention to her. And now that she's an adult, she has this like attention-seeking behavior where in order for her to get it, she has to get people to feel sorry for her. Come up with these stories like, oh, they're out to get me. Someone's out to get me. You know, Satan's after me. The devil's been after me forever. And you know who else repeated that? Ruby Franke. Ruby Franke repeated that exactly when she was on a call with Kevin Franke. She was like, yeah, the devil's been after me. He's been after me since the beginning or some shit like that. It's like, huh, where did we hear this from? Jodi Hildebrand.
In some way. So she's struggling and she can't sleep and she's trying so hard to help others and she's really a victim to this job that she has, but she's so good and she's so noble to keep working.
I'm so good. I'm so noble. Oh my God. Oh man. she just thinks so highly of herself. Hi, Kurt. How are you doing today? Oh my God, the way that she's phrasing this. The Jodi. I could totally see Jodi being like this.
Was the constant theme of what she preached to people. Anybody who stayed within her program long enough, the ones that she really had locked in, that she was bleeding for money and power, can attest to that pattern. I never once saw her ask for help. I only saw her state a problem and be upset and be like this, like victim-y and whiny, until somebody was like, well, this is what we could do. Well, this is how we could help. And nobody was worse than my husband and I, because we were on this business board and trying to grow this business. And so she would do that over and over. And I was starting to get tired.
Yeah, people like that are exhausting.
By the end of 2020, I was...
Remember how Kevin and Franke said that there was a pastor, I think, that would literally go over to Jodi's house. Like, he would drive all the way to Jodi's house, and he would stay there from 4 to 5 hours at a time, trying to console her, trying to talk to her and all that stuff. And I think at some point the pastor was like, okay, you know what? Like, I have my own personal fucking life. Like, you gotta find it some other way. And then Ruby was like, oh my God, Kevin, we should totally take Jodi into our house and let her live with us. Like, let's take care of her. And Kevin's like, I guess, because he probably got guilt trip into it.
I was telling my husband, like, we give her advice all day long. We set up strategy meetings. We talk about different ways she could move to grow this program, not in a multi-level marketing format, but in an actual successful business, like many other coaching programs, like many other things. We knew it was possible.
Yeah, that was after Hanna dumped her. Yep, she was like, oh my God, I don't have anyone else to soul suck on. Okay, let me find someone new to soul suck on.
And over, I just started seeing this cycle of no movement.
And keep in mind, I think at this point she has like 5, 6, or 7 kids. I know she has 8 kids now, but like, imagine being a mother. You have your own business. You have like 5, 6, 7 kids, and then you also have Jodi Hildebrand here soul sucking the shit out of your fucking life with her fucking problems. And as much as you try to help her, it's going nowhere. She's not doing anything to help herself. She's just draining the shit out of you, draining all your sympathy. Like, ain't nobody have time for that. I'm sorry, no one has time for that. That's like maybe like, I don't know, like a middle school, high school thing, when you have all the time in the fucking world to invest to invest someone else's problems into your fucking life, right? But when you're older, you're like, I don't have time for that. No thank you.
And then I was starting to get agitated with it. Now,
good. Get agitated.
That red flag should have been enough for me to start going, why do I feel off? Why is this something I keep giving time to over and over and over, and there's no change? And she's living as the exception to her teachings with this victim mindset, this everyone's out to get me, or Satan himself is out to get me, and I'm the only one that can do this. And so instead of going, wow, something's really wrong with her, I thought, I'm not kind enough. I am not serving. I am not being more generous with my time. Mind you, I had like 6 kids and 7 kids and 8 kids, and it was totally okay for me to not have time, right? But that's where...
Yeah, I was like, wait, how many kids did she have by then? Because by then, I feel like she would have been so fucking busy. Having like 1 kid alone, a lot of work. 2 kids alone, even more fucking work. But having 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like, that's a lot of work. I don't know if they had a nanny at the time or whatever, but still.
Like, that's the mental aerobics that was happening. That's how messed up I had gotten, was that she had become more important than me. She'd become more important than my family. And
that's what she did in Ruby's life. She made Ruby think the same thing, where it was like, Jodi was important to me. Jodi's the one that I'm going to worship. And then my kids, who cares about my kids?
And while I thought I was doing this amazing job with my kids, the amount of time that she was taking, I still get really upset.
Yeah, also, I wonder, when you do have that many kids, that's tough. Like, think about, like, restaurant reservations, when you're going on vacation, car rentals. Like, even getting a van doesn't fit 10 people, because you would have husband, wife, and then 8 kids. So I wonder, how do they do their car arrangements and all that stuff? Maybe they drive separately. That would drive me nuts. I don't know. Yeah, that's crazy. I was thinking about that when I was at a rental car the other day.
Because it was so selfish. I still feel really angry. Angry at myself for not seeing it. And angry at her for what she did, knowingly. I gave her a lot of time in 2020. And I was pregnant and had given birth to my 8th child. in September of 2020. I think she could feel my agitation.
Wait, one in chat if you can see this. I don't know why everything on my end is like spinning. One in chat if you can see, or if you can hear this. My chat is spinning right now. I'm trying to open my email that's spinning. It's just kind of spinning right now. One in chat if you can see this, and two in chat if you're like, I can't hear you, but then you wouldn't be able to hear me anyways.
Agitation. I think she could feel that behind these phone calls, where Johnny and I were trying so hard to come up with a plan for these coaches that were getting trained to have the freedom to go out and teach in their own method and their own manner, making a commission, or let's see, charging how they wanted, and then only giving a small portion to Jodi.
Okay, my chat's frozen, but I can see you guys on my OBS screen, so I'll wait for it to load. Oh, God.
You know, we had discussed the best business models over and over and over, and we were trying to do what's best for these women who were going to utilize these things as part of their livelihood. And I was getting tired and agitated, and I think that was a part of why she started telling me her dreams. I think that's why she started expressing her personal life to me, to get a hook in.
To get you sucked in even more, to get you to be even more empathetic. Oh, Lord.
To my heart, to control.
When you have this many kids, the elder kids taking care of the younger, I don't know, I wouldn't put it on kids to do that. That's a lot of fucking work. To help with like some stuff, sure, but yeah, no, it depends on how young the kids are. I don't know, that's just too much responsibility to put on a child.
How I viewed her as this poor woman who's all alone in the world, who's just trying to lead people to truth. And how could I walk away from that? How could I leave that?
In Hispanic families, you put the kid on top of a kid, no seatbelt needed. That's what we did in Thailand too. We had like sat in Thailand. It was so fucking dangerous. I was sitting in the front because I get car sick, but then my cousin had to sit on my lap. And how old was I? I was like, I don't know, I think I was like 19 years old, and then my cousin was like 4 years old. I'm like, this is so dangerous. Like, we're gonna get in a car accident. And then the back seat, it was like 5 people just piling on top of each other. Reminds me of the high school days. And then, in high school, we even put someone in the trunk, too, because we couldn't fit her. And she's like, it's okay, I'll sit in the trunk. I'm like, I mean, if you want to sit in the trunk, go ahead. I'm not sitting in the trunk. But that was a high school days. Don't do that, okay? That's dangerous.
By the end of 2020, Ruby and I had decided to do a YouTube channel together called Under the Rug. It's no coincidence that I also am calling this channel Under the Rug. After it was all deleted and completely dismantled, I had learned through the process of Ruby and I doing Under the Rug, everything that had been under the rug of Jodi, and that she'd been hiding for decades. And so I
that's why I was like, when I found out about their YouTube channel name, I was like, that's a very interesting YouTube channel name, given with what we know now.
Brought it back. When Ruby and I were putting this together, I had already seen how Ruby utilized these teachings and how harsh they were. I was taken aback many times by the lack of compassion that I had heard in how she shared the things that we were both learning. You know, it was the evidence that two people can hear the same thing and interpret it entirely different. And as we were doing this channel, I thought,
listen, I think Ruby just wanted to control, and she wanted just to fucking dominate. Okay, she had a lot of control issues.
I would be able to help her see how these are beneficial through the lens of love, rather than the lens of control. And so we got things set up to do that. That was the end of 2020. Ruby and I had been talking about a woman that she'd been working with. She was sponsoring her through the 12-step program, I believe. That was something that was very common in connections. Even if you weren't addicted to a substance, you know, you could be addicted to denial, you could be addicted to living in victim or some other stupid term. And she'd been helping this woman. And I remember a conversation where she said that she was going to drop sponsoring this woman, because she had the goal to do her dishes before she went to bed every night, and she just wasn't doing the dishes. And so she's not coming through, so she's living a dishonest life. And Ruby had said all these things.
You're living a dishonest life. You're supposed to do the dishes before you get bed. Wait, hold on a second. She was sponsoring this woman because, oh God.
That she was going to drop sponsoring this woman, because she was
going to drop sponsoring this woman, okay?
Goal to do her dishes before before she went to bed every night, and she just wasn't doing the dishes. And so she's not coming through, so she's living a dishonest life. And Ruby had said all these things. And I said, how do you know that that woman wasn't abused in front of the kitchen sink every single day as a child? How do you know that being in front of the kitchen sink is the most traumatic place in the entire house to be? And that's why she won't do them. And she's not going to heal until she figures that out. And Ruby just looked at me, like down her nose, and said, I've never heard Jodi explain it that way. And I was shocked. Because in my mind, I was thinking, isn't it a given? Like, you think you can just like talk to this woman over and over and then she'll start doing her dishes? Like, isn't it a given that there is something bigger and deeper going on that you can't help? So that was the first thing where I was like, how could you have no compassion towards this person? The second thing was, you've never heard Jodi explain it that way? When
maybe Jodi never explained it that way, or maybe Jodi did explain it that way at the surface level initially, and then Ruby just took the pieces that she liked and then used them and utilized them how she wanted to. Hi, Rhiannon, how are you doing today? Hold on, I think I have a package. I gotta go get it real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for waiting. I'm back. Hello. I went to go get my package. Oh, I was asking if they could hear me. It wasn't a poll. It was like, hey, can y'all hear me? Is my internet connection good or what? Are we doing okay? How are you guys doing today? How is everyone? All right, where were we? Something about women washing dishes. Ruby's like, I never heard Jodi say that.
Did she become the gauge to how you see others? And that was one of the first times that I was like, who am I relying on for information? Am I only holding people, talking to people and explaining things because that's how it was explained through Jodi, or because that feels right? Because it feels that is a good means or method to healing. And that was at the end of 2020. So we had this YouTube channel that was about to begin in January, Under the Rug. I had started being agitated with the amount of time that we were putting into this program. Jodi had been confined.
No, and Jodi agitated with the time that she was putting into the program, but mostly with fucking Jodi and her bullshit and her being possessed and all that stuff.
Fighting in these dreams, in me with these dreams that I felt honored to be included in, and yet was like, who has dreams like this? Like these are worse than any horror movie I've ever heard of. And so it started showing some glimpses into her life behind closed doors. At that point, I should mention, I also started becoming more aware of her personal life, of her relationship with her children, and how it was different than it had ever been explained. And so all of these alarms were going off, and yet it wasn't enough for me to pull out. It wasn't enough for me to recognize that this is functioning as a cult, and that I need to leave. If you take anything away from this video, I hope that it's recognizing that these teachings, any teachings, can be good until they're weaponized. You can recognize somebody's in moves from peace to pain, but when you look at their pain without compassion and start saying, well, what did you do to get there? Mm-hmm. Well, how are you being selfish? Well, how this, how that?
It's when you start getting pretty fucking judgmental of people.
You start manipulating them into a state of self-worthlessness. And what I started recognizing was that these teachings were being weaponized more often within how Jodi taught them, more often than they were being like a ladder out of a pit. Instead of lowering down a ladder, somebody who's suffering in a hole, it was standing at the top and saying, well, you got yourself in there. How are you going to get?
Mm-hmm. And then she was slowly taking that ladder back from the person's, out of the person's reach. It's like, okay, you're just going to be stuck in there. Slowly taking the ladder out. You can't get out. Sucks for you. Doing good. Thanks for asking. Good to hear that. You had a stomach virus from some bad pork. You went to the ER yesterday? Ooh, Jesus. Wait, what happened? How many days ago did you eat the pork? Was it like from the same day? Damn, that sucks. Because bad food poisoning is like, it's the worst. Hi, B King. How are you doing today?
Get yourself out. You have all the tools. What are you going to do? And it intellectualized this whole process and removed feeling from it. So she created an army of a bunch of people who could intellectualize problems with no feeling, and then call out others on saying, well, you're not living honest, responsible, humble. You're in denial of your distortion and you don't want to look at it. And it was a very unloving, unkind, and unsafe place. I have a lot of examples of that. I don't think I need to go into them. I have a lot of examples of little bite-sized moments that were good and that were healing, of phone calls with coaches or people that came to conferences and really took to some of the lessons. But those were the hearts of the coaches. Those were the hearts of the people who Jodi didn't own. She had turned everything into a weapon.
You know what? I saw some outfits from the Met Gala. What were your favorite outfits and what were your least favorite outfits? My least favorite that I saw so far was Kim Kardashian's. I was like, what the fuck is that? You can't even breathe, girl. But there were some really cool outfits. Like there was like a gothy looking outfit by Zendaya and this other, I don't know what her name is, but she had like, it looked like goth makeup with like spider webs and stuff. Looked really cool. Gigi Hadid's outfit looked really awesome.
Long before, with Jessie Hildebrand, she weaponized her teachings with Jessie Hildebrand, so she already knew how to do it. But it took a long time for her to lay the foundation to get somebody up out of the pain they were in, and then to turn them into a weapon to go out and judge others.
Hey, Thomas.
Ruby took to weaponizing these principles straight out of the gate, and I didn't know that.
Ruby was like, oh, now I have more tools of manipulation. Oh, let's do it. It gave her more authority, more tools for her to utilize in order to manipulate other people in her life, whether it was like her family members, her children, maybe even her friends, okay? And then whoever was in the connections therapy sessions.
Her children suffered a lot longer than in the basement of Jodi's house. And some of you saw it on their YouTube channel. But you could only see a part of it. Understanding how a daughter could so badly just want the approval of her mother and then be given these tools instead of a way to go, oh, this is how I can love myself more. It's if I just do this, 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 and this, then I will have earned my mother's love. And a mother who has these weapons, who can say, do you see how you're not a good child? Do you see how you're selfish? Because look, I have the evidence. You are in distortion because you are using these denial strategies. You're using this, whatever words would have been used.
Yeah, if you're not in peace, you're in distortion.
In connections to basically break these families apart, to turn these children.
I mean, honestly, like my mom, she had like 3 kids, right? I already had to raise my 2 siblings, and I was like, what, fucking in like 3rd grade? It was a lot, okay? I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know what we were doing. One was died when our toaster caught on fire.
Into these little people who just want love, who just want to be seen and told they're good and told they're enough. They're willing to do things in the name of truth to earn the love of their mother. That's the weapon Jodi created that was used not just in the Franke family.
I think honestly, Jodi just enhanced it because Ruby Franke was already employing those tactics, but Jodi just enhanced it times like fucking 10, 20, 50.
But were used in many homes, not to that extent, but still enough to the extent of a parent saying to a child, see, there's the evidence you're not humble. See, that's why you're suffering, is because you're doing this and you're doing that, as opposed to.
And we saw how this affected the children because when E was found, remember, she was so scared about what Jodi thought. She was like, oh, where's Jodi? Where's Jodi? Would Jodi be okay that you guys are here? She even asked about her mom, all right? She was like so brainwashed that Jodi was like the fucking god. And then with R, when he went to the house, R was like, oh, can you please call the cops? Take me to jail. It's because these kids were so mind-fucked by their mom and their mom's therapist, this woman who had like, authority in their fucking lives. Mona Patel,
as opposed to a home full of love and full of forgiveness and full of understanding, full of the ability to recognize that we're all weak, that we're all suffering in some way. And so if your husband lashes out, it's from a place of pain. If your child is just knowingly being obstinate, they just need love. They need a consistent form, a consistent parent who is saying, I'm not going to go anywhere, and I can tell you're having a hard time. I thought that these teachings lent to that kind of home.
I didn't think that woman was genuine at first, but now I do. She seems really heartbroken about this. Yeah, when I watched her first video, it seemed genuine to me, honestly. It seemed genuine to me. I was initially a little bit kind of hesitant because I was like, do we want to watch her video? What is she gonna say? But it came across as pretty genuine. Yeah, I don't know, and I appreciated listening from her perspective about her, because she was pretty big up in connections. She wasn't just a nobody, right? Remember Pam? Pam's like, oh, I'm president of Connections. But, when the police were talking, she's like, oh, Connections? I don't know. It's just a thing where people meet. I don't know. It's like webinar. I don't know what it is. But she was pretty hype in Connections. And we watched her videos where she was really pushing on Connections on people. She's like, oh my God, this is me and my husband. Connections done so much for us. Blah, 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 blah. We do the seminars together. And they had a little skit thing. You can see all the connections written all over her face. But now she's distanced herself from it. I do appreciate hearing her insight about this and then what her thoughts were. I think even though she said that her main goal was to kind of just explain to people about her involvement with Connections and how she felt like she was taking blame for introducing Jodi to Ruby and blah blah blah. I think most importantly, I think what she's just trying to do is she's just trying to get it off her chest, and she's just trying to process through all this shit, because even though this happened a long time ago for her, a couple years ago, it's still a lot to have to mentally grapple with the shit that fucking Jodi Hildebrandt puts you through, your family, maybe her children as well. But I think it's a good way for her to kind of just talk it out, just get it off her chest and just process it all over again. Because I don't know, she probably has a therapist that she talks to, but I mean, this is kind of a decent way to kind of just having people hear you out.
And I think they could have, if the motive of the people using them could hold them in that light. But too many people who were good and full of light were like, no, thank you, I'm out, because they could feel something off. But a lot of the people that stayed in it enjoyed the control that those teachings gave over others, enjoyed the position of, see, I'm above you because I know these things and you don't. And I am guilty of that kind of pride. So how do you not join a cult?
And actually, that's not something that's just cult-like behavior where it's oh, I know more than you. I enjoy the position that I'm in. That happens too when you join a new job force for the first time. You guys ever come in and you guys have your background knowledge, all that, your experience, your schoolwork and all that stuff. But then you go into a workforce and everyone kind of teaches treats you like crap because they're oh, you're the newbie here. You're new to this workforce. I don't know. I always hated that mentality. But that's how people are sometimes,
Look at the teachings. Is one person at the top controlling everything
Like,
and
you think you're better than other people because you think you know more.
holding all the power for themselves? And do they live as the exception to their own teachings? And are those teachings utilized as weapons more often than they are in light? That's an individual question. I don't know that you can look at an organization and say, oh yeah, that's weaponized and that's more negative than it is positive. But look at yourself. Are you taking the things you're learning from a self-help book and using it to judge others? Are you taking teachings from a person and putting them up on a pedestal when something isn't in line with what they're saying and what they're living? Ultimately, how to not join a cult is to have the ability to look at yourself in depth very clearly and know what you stand for, what you believe, why you believe it, and how strong you are in it, that you're not willing to bend it for somebody who just comes along and has a good sales pitch. My next video is going to cover 2021. A lot of things took place in 2021, beginning with
Was that when Jodi lived at her house?
coaches being trained and just about in February, finishing their training and being ready to go out and teach on their own, to Jodi coming and staying in my home for 6 weeks, to the end of my friendship with Ruby, the end very abruptly and harshly. And
Yeah, because Ruby was like, oh, wait, I can be the best friend now? I'm going to kick Paige Hannah out of my fucking life. Fuck Paige Hannah. I'm going to be the cozy one next to Jodi Hildebrandt. She gets to be the best friend now. So it doesn't surprise me that Ruby was able to cut out Paige Hannah so quickly and easily. I don't know. That's how I saw it.
and then the pieces that needed to be picked up after that. So thank you for your patience. I don't know when these will be put out.
Yay, be the best
I
friend
really
now.
appreciate the emails, even your questions. I'm happy to give clarity, and I'd love to hear what you learned from anything I said. Thank you.
All right, that was with Paige Hannah. So yeah, we'll wait until she puts out another video. I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting for her to talk about like the connections and all that stuff and how Ruby utilized connection. I think there was a lot more information probably in the first one. The second one, you know, we're kind of just getting more refined. Maybe answers, timelines, I guess. Was this when Jodi was trying to get... that was an allegation that Kevin Franke brought up. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't really see that really working out. If it was like, oh, Jodi Hildebrandt was trying to get with Paige Hannah, that's something that's more in line with, you know, some of Jodi's behaviors in the past. But I don't know. Maybe Jodi's bi. Maybe not. I don't know. We're not quite sure. All right, y'all. So that was Paige Hannah right there, talking about her experience with Connections. Again, she was like a board member in Connections. Her and her husband were like heavily into it. There's a video that they did on YouTube where they did their introduction to their family channel, and you could see Connections written in the the whiteboard right behind them. So yeah, keep an eye out to see when she posts the next one. This one came out about a week ago, so maybe we'll see it in about like next couple weeks. Also, by the way, Fallout. Hello, have you guys been watching the Fallout TV show? Surprisingly pretty good. I've been enjoying it a lot. All right, so before we get into the Karen Reed stuff, let's look at the Met Gala thing real quick. Met Gala 2024. What, can I ask a question? I honestly don't know. Dennis and I were talking about this. What the fuck is the Met Gala? Like Dennis was like, what's the Met Gala? And I'm like, I don't know. They just like dress up, but like, I don't know. They're just like dressing up. I don't know where they're going. And he's like, yeah, like what do they do? Is it like some award show? Like what is it? I'm like, I don't fucking know. They just dress up. I don't know. What do they do? So I know they all get dressed up, but like, is there a show of some sort or some sort of like award commencement thing? Like, what the fuck is the Met Gala? Can anyone fill us in? I don't know shit. Okay. Oh, let's look at the outfits really quick. Okay, let's do a quick little break. Quick little break before we get to Karen Reed nonsense. Is this Nicki? No, this is Cardi B, right? Cardi B. Sorry, I can't really see the face. Cardi B. Who's that? Wait, that doesn't look like Zendaya. I thought Zendaya was more gothic looking. Who's this? Zendaya. I thought Zendaya looked more gothic looking. You want to watch Fall on Amazon, but I typed in Fall and ended up binge watching Falling Skies instead. Is that a Korean drama? This is musician, right? Is this Bad Bunny? Yeah, it's Bad Bunny. Okay. J-Lo. Man, J-Lo is always glowing. But I don't know. I feel like this is so it's pretty, but it reminds me of like very like a Kim Kardashian outfit. This is so pretty. Gigi Hadid's outfit, this gown with the yellow roses. This is not my favorite angle of her gown. There's one where there's like a side angle, and the way the ruffles falls looks really pretty. It's like an awards gala for the Metropolitan Museum and a fundraiser. Oh, okay. A fundraising gala at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Gotcha, gotcha. Falling Skies is like Walking Dead. Oh, but with aliens. Cardi B, Kendall Jenner. It's all right. Anna Wintour. Oh, is this Andy Cohen? Is that Jessica Parker? It is Jessica Parker. Hello. The Met Gala, or the Met Ball, formerly called the Costume Institute Gala of the Costume Institute Benefit, is a fundraiser gala held for the benefit of the Met. Okay, gotcha. Is this her name? Lala, right? Lala, yeah. I don't know who this is. Ashley Graham. This I thought was really pretty. Nicole Kidman. This is a really cool dress. I love how smooth and sleek this white part is. And then there's like black ruffles everywhere. Wait, should I just zoom in? There's like fucking ads everywhere. Get us out of the ads. Does this help? Okay, yeah, much better. Oh, much better. Why didn't I do this from the get-go? Yeah, this dress is so pretty. Oh, Nicole Kidman. I love her. Lil Nas X. Wait! Oh, wait! Game of Thrones? Is this Game of Thrones? Gwendolyn Christie. Yeah, that's great. Game of Thrones. This is actually really... Oh, yeah, Emma Chamberlain. I like this. It looks so gothic. I love it. I love the makeup. I love, like, her pale skin. I don't know what this is. Like, gloves, or if it's, like a tight bodysuit thing. I like this. This is cool, too. Was the theme just, like, whimsical fairy shit? Is that the theme? That must have been the theme. Lana Del Rey. That's Lana Del Rey? What? That's Lana Del Rey. I didn't recognize her. I love this. So cool. How do you go in the bathroom? Yes, this. Zendaya in... I don't know what this is, but it looks so cool. I love it. I love her makeup. This looks really good. Emily. It looks okay. Oh. I love her, but honestly, this just looks like... I'm just getting foil. Like, crimpled foil. Is this Liam Hemsworth? Oh, Chris Hemsworth. Wait, who's Liam Hemsworth then? Are they related? This is Naomi Campbell. Jessica. This looks good on her. I love her hair, and I love this. This looks nice. I don't know. It's like, this is pretty, but it's boring to me. I don't know who this is though. It's pretty, but it's boring. Sienna Miller. Meh. Oh, she's from The Bear. Oh my god, that TV show is so good. You guys gotta watch The Bear. I love this. This is pretty. I wish they did something with her hair more though. Oh wait, really? Younger brother's Liam? Wait, hold on a second. For some reason, I always thought Chris Hemsworth and Liam Hemsworth were the same people. Oh gosh, from the night before, it hit me like a morning with a truck with nausea and body aches. Oh god, did they IV you when you went to the hospital? Who is this again? Is this Dua Lipa? Yeah, Dua Lipa. It's cool, but it's like just black. Don't like this. Also getting foil vibes with some flowers. I don't know, foil vibes. Ariana Grande. I like the eye thing. This is boring to me. Oh, I fucking love her. I love her hair, everything. Don't like the belt though. That Chloe belt is a little too much. That's the brand. A little too much. Boring. I feel like we've seen this look on her before. I don't know. Boring. Usher. Oh, I like this. This like little melted rose thing. I like that. It's okay. This. I don't know. I want to like it because it looks so dimensional, but I'm like, I don't know. This looks fancy. I like this part right here. But all this, I don't like. I like the bottom details right here. Red looks really good on her. I love like the satiny thing. Don't love this. I don't know what the hell that is. Oh, this looks pretty cool. Maybe less petals. Pretty. Purple looks, she looks so good in purple. This is really pretty. Hi, Turbo. How are you doing today? Oh my God, this looks so good. I love this. I love the flowiness of this. This is Mindy Kaling, right? Yeah, I love this. It looks so good. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I don't think I like it. This, pretty. This is Pamela, right? Yeah, I think Pamela's like, she's like, fuck it. I'm not really going to wear makeup anymore. Pamela looks good. I don't know. Looks okay. Looks okay. Looks okay. Oh, I like this. Oh, actually, I saw her. I went to this award show, and she went there to accept her. Yeah, I think it was her. She went there to accept her award, but then she threw shade at the organizers for. I guess they were. They were, what is it called again? When you like snuff? When you snuff someone? No, when it's like, what is it called again? Fuck, what's the word that I'm looking for? Where it's like, oh, you're not important. We don't care about you. That's what they did to her, apparently, years before. This looks so hard to breathe in. Snub? Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking for. Snub. I was like, snub? Yeah, they were like, they like snubbed her and then like lost her award and all that. Aquafina? No, I don't like it. Cute, but I don't know. I like this. Like this just reminds me of so Kim Kardashian now. Oh, I like the details. The lacy. No, not blacklisted. Yeah, snub. This is really pretty. This is Doja Cat, right? I don't know. I'm getting like mop vibes. You know, when you have like, I have like a mop downstairs, and when you get the refills from Home Depot, I'm getting mop vibes from this. I like the hair. I don't know. I like this is cute. I don't know if I like this as shorts though. Cute, but whatever's. Are those Crocs? These are like Crocs. It's not Doja. This one? Is that Doja? Who is this? I don't know who that is. FK Twigs. No idea. A lot of these new musicians, I don't know a lot of them anymore. Not loving this. Okay. I feel like I love a lot of things about this, but not together. I don't know. I love the makeup. I love like whatever these lines are. Makeup looks good. I love her hair. This color looks really good on her. It goes with the makeup, but I don't know, like all together at the same time. I feel like it's like I'm overwhelmed. Wait, this is H&M? What the fuck? That was H&M? The hell? Okay, she never fucking ages. What the hell? I watched Bring It On a couple days ago. She looks the same. Gabrielle. What's your skin rigid? I don't like her outfit though. It just looks like a mermaid. This is pretty. This is pretty. I don't know how I feel about this outfit. It's okay. This, yeah, it must be fairy tale vibes. No. I love the colors together, but no, I don't know. I don't like that thick waistband right there. I don't like how you can see that. I don't know. No. Oh, I fucking love her, Janelle Monáe. Her outfit though. It's interesting. It's interesting. Yes, Crocs. I don't trust people who wear them. Why? My dad wears Crocs. I have Crocs, but they're not comfortable. People are like, "Oh my God, Crocs are so comfortable." I'm like, "No, they're not comfortable. Crocs sucks. I don't know what you're talking about." The blood of the virgins. This is cute. I love the playfulness. I love the colorness. This is so cute. Nicki Minaj. Oh my God! Is that Sydney? Is that you? I like her better as a blonde. Black does, I don't know. I'm black, or maybe it's a wig or something. The hair does not look good on her, but this outfit looks beautiful. I love this blue shade. The latex kind of like, it's like different vibes. It's like fairy tale princess, but then I'm like a latex queen. I don't like her hair though, but I do love Sydney Sweeney. Oh, this is Doja Cat. Oh, she looks so good. Doja Cat's just so fucking gorgeous. Yeah, boring. Like Kim Kardashian, I don't know, boring. I don't know. Looks interesting. This is cool. I like the little wings. This is pretty. I don't know who that is though. Who is this? Sabrina Carpenter. She looks familiar, but I don't know who that is. Yeah, that color is so pretty. Oh my God, this guy right here. Oh, Dude, the two movies that I know that he's in, he always plays such a weird fucking role, okay? He was in Saltburn. I don't know if y'all watched Saltburn. That movie was fucking weird. And he was in this movie with Colin Farrell where it was called something of the Lambs. Not Silence of the Lambs. Death of the Lambs. It was such a weird fucking movie, but I fucking loved it. That movie I like. Saltburn, not so much. Cute, but then when you look closer, I don't know. I'm still getting like foil vibes. I don't know. I don't really care about menswear, to be honest, but this is a cool jacket. This is pretty, but too prom dressy. Oh, wait, that's Shakira? Oh my god, Shakira, I love you. Also another woman who doesn't fucking age. Fucking Shakira. She looks so good. I love you, Shakira. I don't know. Boring. Do I like this outfit? I don't like the poof, I guess. I'm not a huge poof person. But I guess it's like the Queen of Hearts vibes. That's what we're getting. This is interesting. I don't know. I'm getting like medieval knight, but like diamonds. White. I mean, it's pretty. The details are pretty. Black. I don't like her purse. This is pretty. This is a really pretty dress. I like this dress. It's really pretty. I don't know who this is. Oh, that's Vera Wang. That's Vera Wang. Holy shit. Her dress is pretty. She probably designed her. Oh, yeah, Vera Wang and Vera Wang. She probably designed her own dress. Okay, I think that's about it. I don't think green. I think all the ones that I wanted to see I've already seen. All right, cool. Let's get to. Wait, why did I get an eBay pop up? The heck? Let's get to Karen Reed. All right, y'all. How are we doing today? Should we get up and stretch before we start with the Karen Reed shenanigans? Oh, how are y'all doing? The theme was Garden of Time. I like that theme. I like the. Wait, hold on a second. I fit their theme. I'm part of the Met Gala. See, I got the little mushrooms on here. I got flowers, weeds. It's kind of sucks that men these days. No, men can wear awesome shit. Like, look at Lil Nas X. You can wear really awesome stuff. It's just whether or not you want to. Or whether or not the designer want to spend time making men's stuff, you know? It's more fun to make women's stuff. You need to see Mona Patel's dress. Oh, wait, why wasn't she on there? Let me see. Mona Patel dress. That's the one you said was number one? Mona Patel. She was the best dressed on the red carpet. Let me see. I can't see her outfit. Oh my god, we're getting so many ads. Hold on, give me a second. We're pulling it up. Oh no. I'm getting a Pampers ad. I bought baby stuff for my friend and now they're oh. Okay. Who is Mona Patel? This is pretty. I don't know if it's number one though. I think I really like Zendaya's and Nicole Kidman. But holy shit. Now the detail on this is like really fucking cool. That's the back of it. That's the front. Oh my god, look at these little like arm cuffs over here. Holy crap. Yeah, it's a cool dress. It's just that like I like colors. I like darkness. I like darkness and color. But cool. She's pretty. I don't know who she is though. She actress? She's an entrepreneur. She's an entrepreneur from India. That's what it says. An entrepreneur. Zen wore 2 dresses, right? Isn't that cheating? Is that cheating if you get to wear 2 dresses? Wait, is the Met Gala where Lady Gaga wore that meat dress like a long time ago? A very long time ago. All right, y'all. So we're moving on over to Karen Reed trial day 6. We're still on the testimonies of law enforcement. Yesterday, the judge did a voir dire of one of the detectives that responded to the scene, collected evidence, and then went to the Albert house to question the Albert family. However, they did a voir dire to determine what are they going to let in about what happened 20 years ago with law enforcement, this particular law enforcement, and the Albert family. And so now we get to hear what the judge are letting in, and then we're just going to hear more testimony about, them responding to the scene and blah, blah, blah. But at this point, I'm still kind of confused because The timeline is a little bit messy for me. I'm a little bit confused. Who did what, when it was done, what time, blah, blah, blah. I still get confused with some of the family members as well. You know, it's all over the place. But I'm trying my best to keep my notes here. But even with my notes, I'm still kind of like, I'm confused where we are. I wonder if one, if the jury's allowed to take notes, and two, if they are taking notes, they're probably still really fucking confused, just like how I am. I don't know. I feel bad for the jury. We get to talk about it. The jury, they're just like, I have so much information in my head. I don't know what to do with it. Probably.
Thanks, Jim.
Karen Reed, Karen
Sir, can you
Reed.
raise your hand one more time? Just be so sure the evidence you give the court and jury the case down here to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, thank you.
Wait, what's the speed of this? Okay.
Okay.
Gaga award the Mitras to the VMA Awards. What's VMA? Video Music Awards?
Good morning. Right. We all set?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
So this is a cross-examination. We did direct examination yesterday. Mr. Yannetti, come on up.
Good morning, Sergeant.
Good morning.
Sergeant, you are familiar with the key swipe system at the Canton Police Department?
Yes.
Could you explain to the jury how that works?
So police officers are issued looks like a credit card. I have it in my wallet. Anytime I enter or leave the police department, the exterior doors going out the back are...
I'm assuming we're going to get a log of the key swipe system because yesterday, I think the defense, they were trying to say, hey, you know, the ATF guy, Brian Higgins, was hanging out, you know, went back to the house to drink with everyone. And for some reason at 1:30 a.m., he came back to Canton Police Department. And it seems like he swiped on in.
There's a key scan. You put it up to it, unlock the door to come in. When you leave, you don't have to go in. But if you need to go into the booking area, you have to scan yourself in and out.
See, that's why I was confused because Video Music Award, usually it's like Music Video Awards. Why is it Video Music Awards?
And to get out of the Sally Post, you have to scan in and out.
Okay, and just trying to keep your voice up so
Yes,
that these last few jurors can hear you. How many officers on your department have those keys that can be swiped?
I would believe all of them.
Okay. And how many, or strike that. Do you know how this information is stored at the Canton Police Station?
I do not. I don't know the software, but I believe it's recorded anytime we would come and go.
Okay. And you say you believe that it's recorded at the time that the information is obtained? In other words, somebody key swipes in, and that information is then stored, you believe, at the Canton Police Station?
I don't know the software, so I wouldn't be able to give you an educated response to that.
And do you yourself, as a sergeant, have access to the key swipe data, or is that limited to certain officers at the department?
I don't believe I have access to that. I've never accessed
You've
it.
never accessed it. Okay. Your Honor, we do have a stipulation between the parties, if the court will accept it, to introduce the key swipe records from January 29th of 2022.
Okay.
I would offer that as the next exhibit.
Any objection, Mr. Lally?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Are they subject to redactions?
Yes, we have redacted them. The court can certainly take a look to make sure that...
Have you all agreed to the redactions?
May we approach just as to that?
Yes.
Redactions.
completely spelled out in terms of... Have you spoken to anybody about your report?
No.
Nobody from the Canton Police?
No.
Wait, what happened to the key swipe thing? Hello? Did I miss something?
Did you go over...
Oh, we lost audio? Oh, is that why? Eh? Okay, we lost audio.
Before you now took the stand today, did you go over your report?
My police report?
Yes.
Yes.
We're done with the key swipe. We're on to the report now.
Were you looking for anything specifically?
No.
How long did you take to review that report between yesterday and today?
I scanned over it.
A few minutes?
Sure. Yes.
Have you spoken to anybody about your report?
No.
Nobody from the Canton Police?
No.
You recall that I had asked you about the fact that one name had not been completely spelled out in terms of first name, right?
Yes.
And you had, I believe, indicated that Sergeant Lang...
Wait, can you guys say one in chat if you can hear me? My thing is spinning again. Oh my god, is it just Mozilla Fire? What is this?
was the one that altered that or added that to the report.
Not altered. So he was the one that got those names. So when he entered his report, I believe he would enter those.
Okay, and so he entered that into your report, correct?
Anybody writes a supplemental?
Wait a second. Where are the captions? Huh? Hold on a second. There are no captions here. What the? Why are there no captions?
If you have the authorization, you can enter who you speak to add those names. I only spoke to Ms. Roberts, Ms. Reed, and Ms. McCabe that morning.
Okay, but the report has your name on it, correct?
Yes.
Did you speak to anybody from the prosecution, either Mr. Lally or Ms. McLaughlin or anybody else from that office about this issue?
No.
You would agree with me that it is important when you're writing a police report to be transparent, correct?
Yes.
You want to be clear, correct?
Yes.
You do not want to mislead the reader
At least he wrote a report. Not everyone wrote a report, okay? I don't know why.
into believing something that is not true, correct?
Yes.
Can I see P and Q for identification, please?
Let's see if his report is good.
Thank you, sir. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
You identified that yesterday, correct?
Yes.
We went over with the jury the 5 bits of information that are up at the top of the report, starting with the incident number, correct?
Yes.
You had indicated, again, incident 22-87-OF,
Yes.
call 22-449,
Yes.
date and time reported January 29th, 22 at 6:08,
Now, whenever I hear OF, I think of OnlyFans.
Yes.
and the report date and time was January 29th, 22 at 8:24 a.m., correct?
Yes.
Reporting officer, Sergeant Sean Good, correct?
Yes.
I'd like to show you now what has been marked Q for identification, and you can hang on to P if you like. With regard to those bits of information, first of all, let me have you identify Q for identification. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm reading Q.
Okay, what is Q for identification?
Exhibit Q.
Right. What is the actual document?
We call this a face sheet.
Okay. And with regard to P for identification, that's also a face sheet, correct?
Yes.
They appear to be nearly identical, correct?
Correct, except I'm looking at the top
Face sheet, like a cover sheet, I guess.
right corner. One says 1/30/2022, and the next would be 10/25/2022.
That is the print date of the report, correct?
Okay. I don't know.
So regardless of when those 2 face sheets had been printed, ignore that. With regard to the information about the incident number and the date of the report and the date of the incident and the reporting officer, those appear to be identical, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, with regard to P for identification, which is the first report that you were shown, and you were shown that yesterday, and now you have it in front of you, there is a photo on the right side of that report, is there not?
There is.
What's the picture?
Do you know what that photo is of?
It looks like the scene probably a couple days later when the snow had melted.
Okay. Does it look like a berm
Oh, are there going to be shards of taillights in the picture?
that was actually
Exposed?
uncovered by the officers on scene the very first day?
Yes. Are we looking at Q?
No, at
At P? Yes. P? Yes. It looks like the berm. Correct.
And then with regard to Q for identification,
Exposed?
uncovered by the officers on scene, a berm that was actually
Oh, the berm. Okay, the berm.
Exposed?
uncovered by the officers on scene the very first day?
Yes. Are we looking at Q?
No, at
At P? Yes. P? Yes. It looks like the berm. Correct.
And then with regard to Q for identification, which again is the face sheet with the identical information, is there a different photo?
Yes.
What does that photo appear to depict, if you know?
It looks like the same area that Mr. O'Keefe possibly was found, I believe.
Those 2 documents, P for identification and Q for identification, those are actually your report, correct?
Correct. But can I explain?
Mr. Lally will, I'm sure, let you explain. At this point, I'm going to be asking the question.
No, you cannot explain.
If you don't mind. Your Honor, I would offer into evidence as full exhibits both P and Q for identification. Just the face sheet.
Please.
Is there an objection?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, the objection sustained.
May we approach?
Oh, they're not going to show
Can I
us.
see those, please?
They're not going to show us. I want to see P and Q. Gotta mind your P's and Q's. Oh, she's got a little, is that a little giraffe in her shirt? Hi, Chris. Hello, hello. How's your day going?
Okay, I placed a photo before you, Sergeant Good. Do you recognize what that depicts?
Yes.
What does it depict?
I believe that's a photo of a piece of a taillight.
Okay. And when you say a photo of a piece of a taillight, you're obviously referring to a piece of a taillight allegedly found at 34 Fairview in Canton?
Yes.
Now, that photo is the photo that is
I want to know how big are the shards of the taillight pieces? Like, are they tiny? Were they buried in the snow? Or are they like some big chonklings where it's like, could you really miss them the first time?
included in Exhibit Q for identification that you previously saw, right?
I thought she brought a giraffe to court. No, you're not allowed to bring giraffes, only llamas, okay? Or no, alpacas. This case is so crazy. Yeah. Does anyone know why the attorney never says objection? Just says objection, but never says what the objection is. Jane, It's because the judge wants it to be that way. I don't know. It's weird. I've never seen it in trial before. I don't know if this is just like a Massachusetts thing or if it's just like a judge thing, but the judge just wants them to object and not state the objection and just move along. She'll run through her head if any of the if anything applies, and then she'll say sustained or overruled. So I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I guess it moves quickly, more faster. But then we don't get to know what they're objecting for. We're just kind of like, hey.
Right, that's the second photo, is it not?
On the second face sheet that he gave me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And I'm showing you, I'm going to put you again.
Yes.
What is already been marked Exhibit 20A. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What do you recognize that to be?
That's the berm from that morning.
Okay. And Exhibit 20A is the photo that was in the first version of your report, which was P for identification, correct?
Yes.
I can take those back from you, sir. Just where's no one right here? Can you sit down? Published.
I mean, honestly, when we watch court stuff, some judges, they just do things like very differently that we're just like not used to. But yeah, she's like, you can object, but just don't state the grounds for objection. Like, okay, all right, cool.
I'm sorry. With regard to the first.
Tyla, Met Gala. Let me see. Tyla, sand sculpture. Did I not see her? I thought we saw her. No. I think we saw her. Yeah. I think we saw her. She's really pretty. I don't know who she is though, but she's fucking gorgeous. But I didn't know this was supposed to be a sand sculpture. Oh, it seems very Dune theme and not garden party theme. But yeah, she's pretty. Who is she?
First photo that you identified, which was the piece of taillight that allegedly was found at 34 Ferry. That was a fair and accurate representation of that photo, correct?
Yes.
If they're small, they couldn't get blown with the air. Okay, well, I mean, it wasn't just clear pieces of taillight that was recovered from the scene. Some of them were red, too. So, I don't know. We have lots of questions. Lots of questions.
All right. May I offer that, Your Honor?
Okay, there's no objection, Mr. Lally?
No, Your Honor.
But it's hard. I want to know the answers now. Now, damn it.
22. Okay, and I'm sorry, the exhibit number was? 42. 42, thank you. May I publish 20A and 42 separately for the jury, Your Honor?
Okay.
Okay. 20A is, you've testified, the photo of the berm
All right, this is the photo of the berm.
that was included in the first version of your police report, which was P for identification, correct?
Yes.
All right. Let's put up 42, please. No. I'm sorry. Where is 42?
Right here.
I don't have it.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
No wonder. Sure. Okay. The exhibit sticker's upside down, but there we go.
I can't see.
That is the photo of the piece of taillight allegedly found at 34 Fairview that you have identified as exhibit 42, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, having seen those photos,
Question, is the prosecution trying to say that initially it was just a photo of the berm, but then they manipulated it and then changed that photo and then did the taillight piece? Or was it just updated where it was like initially they went there, they took a picture and there's the berm, and then later on they added the piece of the taillight? Is it like, do we have two photos in the report, right? Or was it first photo was replaced by the second photo? Sorry, I might have missed it in the beginning.
one was included in P for identification, one was included in Q for identification, correct?
Yes.
Which you previously identified as your reports. Or report, I should say.
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I would offer the top portion of P and Q for identification as a full exhibit.
Okay, and there's an objection from the Commonwealth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. It will come in, when the jury actually gets it, we'll have it on the same 9x12 paper that everything else is.
Perfect.
And all exhibits go through Madam Court Reporter.
Oh, of course.
Madam Court Reporter.
So,
When they went to go visit the 34 Fairview Avenue and they went to go see the car, all I could think about is just Becky Hill opening her mouth when she was at Moselle trying to talk to the jury.
jurors, I'm going to send you out for 5 minutes, okay? Just
Okay, and that can't happen. What you agreed to it, you were going to cut them. Apparently, you probably don't have scissors. Let's get these so that they're acceptable to go to the jury. I mean, this just came in with the whole report on it.
I'm sorry?
This just came into evidence with the whole report, and that's not what you agreed to at sidebar.
I mean, I guess we didn't have scissors, but what I was going to do, because it's folded, all I was going to show the jury was the part that got in.
But these are now in evidence.
Understand.
Okay, and that can't happen. So fix them. Do we have scissors, Mr. Clerk? Thank you. So why don't you fix them, run them through a copy machine. All right, we'll take a 5-minute recess.
See you, Morden. Thanks for hanging out with us.
And actually, this is probably a good time for me to say, and it's not that it's not just the defense, it's not just the prosecution, but we're taking an awful lot of these jurors' times. We're taking days and weeks. Let's not squander it by, repetitive evidence or taking time like this that we shouldn't need to take. Okay, let's move this case along.
This is the feeling that I get from the judge. She just wants to move it along. Like whenever. If there's a lawyer that's like kind of like going over the questions over and over again, she's like, let's just move along. Let's just move along. Just keep going. Move along. Or like when Lolly's trying to go over the experiences of the paramedic, she's like, let's move it along. Come on, let's go.
All right. I'll be out in 5 minutes.
All right, please.
She's an impatient judge. But I do like the moving it along, I like moving it along too. I'm also impatient. All right, fanned. Let's see. I think the way this was investigated was definitely unorganized.
Thank you.
And with the court's permission, I'd like to display these one above the other.
Okay.
Okay. Sergeant Good, you have previously testified about the details in these reports. You would agree that each of these reflects your report. It says reporting officer Sergeant.
Okay, so let's see. Is the date fucked up or something? This one says October 25th. This one says January 30th. What's up with these dates? Incident, call number, date reported, 29, Sergeant Good. I'm a little confused. Did they just updated the photo last minute or what? Or the date's fucked up?
Sean Good, correct?
Yes.
Each of these is page 1 of your report, correct?
Yes.
You've previously testified that you call that the face sheet of the report, correct?
Yes.
Oh, they're both page 1. Okay.
Each of these has the identical incident number and call number, correct?
Yes.
The identical date and time reported, correct?
Yes.
The identical report date and time, correct?
Yes.
And of course, the identical officer.
Yes.
Other than the print date of the face sheet of your report, one appears to be in January, one appears to be in October. The major change is the photo that's included on the face sheet, correct?
Yes. Can I explain why?
So that second photo with the piece of tail light.
He just talked over him. He didn't even respond to him. Mr. Lally will get to you and let you explain.
That is included on the first page of your report. That photo is not from January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
You never took a photo of a piece of taillight on January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
You never saw a piece of taillight at 34 Fairview on January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Did you personally switch the photo on the face sheet of your police report?
No.
Do you know who did?
So whoever updated the report, their supplemental, you add photos.
But in answer to my question, do you know the specific person from your department who altered the photo on the face sheet of your report?
I didn't take the supplemental report, so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know who took the photo.
But given
So I guess we need to understand how the system works then. So when you're adding a supplemental photo, does it just replace the photo on the face sheet?
that
How does that work?
this is your report,
I wish we could see the rest of the report.
you're the reporting officer. You are responsible for the content of that report, are you not?
For my report, yes, not other officers' supplementals to an investigation.
All right, but this is your report. This is the face sheet for the reporting officer, Sergeant Sean Good, is it not?
Yes, on the face sheet.
All right. Now, would you agree with me that
But someone else updated it with another photo.
someone reading this report and seeing that the date and time of the report is listed as January 29th of 2022 at 8:24 a.m., that's when you wrote it, correct?
That's when I logged in, yes.
Somebody reading that and seeing a photo of a piece of taillight.
Hi, David. We just started. How's it going? How's it going? Yesterday was a shit show, but you know, we're here for it. How you been, David?
Believe that that photo is from the same date that you're writing the report, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you think it's misleading to include a photo on the face sheet of the report when the report is dated January 29th, 2022, and the photo is not from that day, it's from sometime later?
Objection.
Sustained.
Is there anything on what is now marked Exhibit 44 on that face sheet that indicates the date and time that that photo on Exhibit 44 was taken?
No.
Is there anything on Exhibit 44, that face sheet of your report, that indicates that it applies to some supplemental report that was later filed?
No.
Wait, in Germany, they don't have juries in Germany? Everything's decided by the judge?
Let me have a moment.
Yes.
I've heard the trial's been wild. Police incompetence. Lots of questions about the police. But yeah, it just seems like there are. I mean, the one guy specifically that testified yesterday. What was his name again? Shit, I forgot his name. Goodwill. Good. Not this is good. The other guy's name was Gallagher. Gallagher seems to be kind of a lazy officer. Okay, Gallagher seems to be like a type of officer who he just seems really chill. I don't know. Gallagher's a very interesting officer. The way they collected the evidence, you know, and I know they're trying to improvise. They didn't have the right resources, but I'm like, couldn't you just, I don't know. That's why we need a timeline for everything. We need to know the timeline because apparently whoever's the one that's supposed to come to the crime scene and process it, they wouldn't come because John O'Keefe was not pronounced dead at the time. It was not considered a homicide. So they're like, we're not coming. But I want to know, when did they find out that John O'Keefe was declared dead at the hospital? Because couldn't they just like update it, be like, oh, okay, it's like, you know, he is dead. Or like, you know, they think that he's going to die because, you know, when we got to him, he was unresponsive. He was completely blue. Seems like he was already under cardiac arrest. Like, couldn't they just have him on standby, like the team on standby to have him come by later on? But what they're saying is that they didn't have the right tools, equipment, the right team didn't respond, so they had to do with what they can, and the conditions were really bad. Yes. Solo cups, yes. Yep. And then for me, I'm like, okay, well, even though you're not the right team to be processing the crime scene, don't you have some experience on how to do it anyways? Because you should still be able to do it, no? Just in case? Just in case?
Nothing further, thank you.
All right, please take the exhibit down. And we need that exhibit, Mr. Yannetti.
Oh, yes, of course. We have two others as well.
Okay, the exhibits are to remain up here with the clerk.
With the clerk?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, go right ahead, Mr. Lally.
Thank you.
Redirect.
Sergeant, turning back to some questions you were asked yesterday in regard to Christopher Albert and whether or not he was a town selectman. Is that correct?
He said he's never processed a crime scene in the snow before. Yes. But, you know, the jury knows, okay? They live in this area of Massachusetts. They know whether or not it snows often or not. I'm pretty sure we know.
Yes.
He is currently, is that correct?
Yes.
And was he on January 29th of 2022?
No.
So he was elected to the Board of Selectmen subsequent to this date that you've been talking about, January 29th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Now, the location.
And what doesn't help with this case is that not only it seems like law enforcement is a little bit sloppy, the prosecutor in this case doesn't really help either. I feel like he's like very mid. I don't know. Because I feel like sometimes if you have like, you know, shitty police investigation, you'll have a really good prosecutor that goes up there. They'll get ahead of things before the cross-examination comes up, right? Or they'll kind of clarify certain things, why it wasn't done certain ways, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like the prosecutor in this case just doesn't really help as much. He's just kind of like, to me, in my opinion. But, nah.
Location where you were directed to where Mr. O'Keefe had been located just after 6 a.m. Where was that in relation to the property
Canton population is about 25,000. How far is it from Boston?
line between 34 Fairview Road and the home next door?
If I got to guess, probably 10, 12 feet to the property line.
Hi, Storm. Also, I don't know why Lolly asked that question. Why not just start with the report?
No, you were
Since
asking
it's still fresh in the juror's mind.
some questions about having been to that residence at 34 Fairview Road prior. And you indicated that you had been there years ago with Sergeant Lang. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was that in regard to, sir?
It was a hit and run investigation.
And who, if anyone, so why were you at that residence at 34 Fairview Road?
So there was a call for a motor vehicle crash at the corner of Denham and Washington Street, and the suspect vehicle had fled the scene. Officer Lank, so prior to that night, he followed the oil spill of the vehicle down.
So this is a separate incident that they're talking about right now. Day was good. Yeah, we're just here. We're just chilling.
Dedham Street, up Cedar Crest, all the way down to the intersection of Cedar Crest to Fairview, and the oil spill actually drove into 34 Fairview, where we found the vehicle.
And who, if anyone, did you, through your investigation, who, if anyone, did you associate with operating that?
That'd be Tim Albert.
And was Mr. Timothy Albert, was he charged in reference to that incident?
Yes, he was.
So again, the defense, they're trying to establish a relationship with certain people in the law enforcement, with the Albert family, where John O'Keefe's body was found. And they're bringing this up because they're saying, they're like, okay, well, you know, however many years ago, was it like 10 years ago or something like that? You did go after someone in the Albert family. You followed, it was like a hit and run. You followed the oil, whatever, into the road, and then you found him at the Albert family. You took him in. He was arrested. He was blah, 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 all that stuff. So the state is trying to show that, like, oh, you know, like, you guys have, like, it's not like just, like, let him go. You, like, chased after him, and then you arrested him.
And do you know approximately when that was?
It was in 2009. I don't know the exact date, but I know the year.
2009. That was a long time ago.
Now, as far as your report, you asked a number of questions about that. I'm sorry, before I get to that, you
Dave, good morning. How are you?
testified earlier that when you were leaving the scene, there was an amount of snow that had compiled on your windshield, correct?
Yes.
And after leaving the scene, what if anything happened with the snowfall sort of throughout the course of the day?
Our windshield was completely covered. We had to take time to clear off our windshields. It had snowed considerably.
And then following that throughout sort of the course of the rest of the day in the afternoon, what if anything did you observe about the snowfall down?
It continually got worse.
I thought they did arrest him. I thought they arrested him, but then the charges were brought down. That was my understanding of it.
Of the vehicle, down Dedham Street, up Cedar Crest, all the way down to the intersection of Cedar Crest to Fairview, and the oil spill actually drove into 34 Fairview, where we found the vehicle.
And who, if anyone, did you, through your investigation, who, if anyone, did you associate with operating that?
That'd be Tim Albert.
And was Mr. Timothy Albert, was he charged in reference to that incident?
Yes, he was.
And do you know approximately when that was?
It was in 2009. I don't know the exact date, but I know the year.
Or maybe they followed up, and then they wrote the report down, and then the DA's office charged him.
Now, as far as your report, you asked a number of...
Considerably.
And then following that throughout sort of the course of the rest of the day in the afternoon, what, if anything, did you observe about the snowfall down?
It continually got worse.
Now, as far as your report is concerned, what you were shown and what you've seen, has there been any change as far as your narrative in reference to who you talked to, what they said, anything of that effect?
No.
You've been asked a bunch of questions about what you called a face sheet. Can you explain to the jury sort of what a face sheet is and sort of how that comes into?
Easiest way, it's the top sheet of the report. It's not the actual meat of the report. It just gives you the date and time. Usually, if you can fit it on the front from the sheet, it would be the first party would be involved. If there was a suspect, defendant, and that's it. It would be their name, date of birth, social security number, all their personal information.
But it said this was updated in October. Why in October? If the taillight pieces were found before that.
So, as far as you were saying, sort of the meat of the report, it has no real relation to that, correct?
Correct.
Now, you were handed two exhibits or two parts.
Or was the photo submitted way before, but then maybe someone did like a text edit, and then that showed that it updated on October 2022, maybe?
Of report, and you were told to ignore the date that they were printed, correct?
Correct.
And so, what, if any, significance would the date that they were printed have in relation to what's on face?
So, in this case, there was supplemental reports done after the 29th. So those reports were added to my initial report. You can add a supplemental narrative. So if that includes meeting new people, talking to other people, or taking photos of anything you found, you would add that to our report. And it would
And
be
then the date would have been updated.
documented in the supplemental.
And you had offered, I believe, a couple times to explain to the jury sort of why a photo might be different from one face sheet when it's printed versus a subsequent date when the face sheet is printed. Can you explain to the jury at this time sort of why would that be?
So if
Explain
when
it
that
to us.
face sheet was printed, if photo number one was the top photo, and now there's a new photo added, that could be now the top photo on that face sheet when it was printed.
And how would that be something that someone would physically go in and do, or is that something that sort of within the system automatically occurs? If you know.
I don't know how the system numbers the photos. So we added our photos on January 29th, and then any photos subsequent to that were added. I don't know how the software would put them 1 through 20 or how many there were.
Okay.
Nothing further on.
Okay.
If I might,
Very briefly.
you had just talked about how Tim Albert was charged as a result of the investigation that you did years ago, correct?
Yes.
The evidence in that case, you would agree with me, was strong against Tim Albert for that crime, was it not?
For leaving the scene? Yes.
Sure. Sergeant Link actually was able to follow the trail of fluid from the accident scene right to 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
And Tim Albert admitted that he got nervous and left the scene, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, despite the fact that he was charged, are you aware that the case was just flat out dismissed upon restitution?
Objection. Move to strike, Your Honor.
The objection sustained.
Nothing further.
Jurors, you're to disregard that.
All right, you're all set, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who is your next witness, Mr. Lally?
Because if it's dismissed, it's done by the attorney's office, right? Not like law enforcement or anything like that.
Yes, Your Honor. Call to call Sergeant Michael Lang to the stand.
All right, so not yet. I'll see counsel.
No, not yet. We don't want him up here yet.
Sidebar, please.
Sergeant Link is the one that did the voir dire yesterday.
Specifics of the allegations
Wait.
of the.
To get into.
Thank you, Your Honor. With regard to the voir dire yesterday, my intention is to closely mirror my questioning of Sergeant Lank with my questioning of him on voir dire. In other words, the fact of the fight, the fact of Chris Albert's involvement in the fight.
Okay, so he's just going to say the questions that he wants to ask. The judge is going to go through that. She's going to okay what they can get into with Sergeant Lank and the Albert family. I'm just going to fast forward through here.
Just alert me before you begin that line of questioning because I have an instruction.
Of course.
Okay.
Just going to ask you to be mindful to step up and remain standing.
Just notice where the evidence you did the court during the case down here to the truth, the whole
See, here's what I'm wondering. I heard about how they drew her blood. I don't know if they can use that, especially if they drew her blood while she's being hospitalized, not while she was under police custody, and then they were getting her blood for like a DUI, DWI, whatever the fuck it's called over there. Is it called like an OWI or something, operating while intoxicated? I think it's different in Massachusetts. So like because she was under like she was like in a medical hold and they drew her blood, I don't know if they can use that as evidence. I don't know. I mean, I'll wait and see till we get there.
truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I was wondering about that.
Morning.
All right, we have Sergeant Lank now. Mr. Lank.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Lally, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name?
Michael Lank, L-A-N-K.
And how are you employed, sir?
I'm a lieutenant with the Canton Police.
And how long in total have you been a member of the Canton Police?
Over 24 years.
And how long have you held the rank of lieutenant with Canton Police?
It'll be 2 years in August.
Now, prior to, well, let me ask you first, with reference to your responsibilities as lieutenant, if you could explain to the jury just in general terms, what are your duties and responsibilities as a lieutenant?
I oversee the gun licensing and patrol. And two. Completed. His primary responsibility.
To the morning of
Sergeant Sean Good.
2022. Some point after 6 a.m., did you receive a call in regard to a dispatch that your department had received?
Yes.
And who, if anyone, called you around that time?
Sergeant Sean Good.
Do you know approximately what time Sergeant Good called?
I believe it was 6:08.
And with reference to that call, the initial call from Sergeant Good, what, if any, information did he relay to you at that time?
Sergeant Good stated that there was a gentleman found in the snow at 34 Fairview Road, and he was in very grave condition. And he brought it to my attention that he was also a Boston police officer.
And subsequent to that, through the course of your investigative work on this case, did you learn who that unresponsive male was?
Yes.
And who did you learn?
John O'Keefe.
And upon receiving that call, where did you go?
I went to 34 Fairview Road.
And if you know about what time?
John O'Keefe is Boston police officer, but do you know what department he was in? Like where? Was it in Canton or it seems like not in Canton?
Would you estimate that you arrived in the area of 34 Fairview Road?
I live fairly close, so I was on scene by, I believe it was 6:24, 6:25.
And upon your arrival, who, if anyone else,
Because the way they talk about him, does it seem like they're close to him or they like really know him very well? Because I would assume they would just call him like Officer O'Keefe or something.
from your department was there prior to you?
Officer Sarif, Officer Mullaney, and Sergeant Good.
And when you arrived, beyond sort of the other officers from your department, what, if any, other activity or what, if any, other persons did you observe on scene?
When I arrived, I observed that the ambulance was still there. There was multiple EMTs, and I observed some witnesses also.
And with respect to the ambulance, it's your understanding Mr. O'Keefe was in that ambulance?
Yes,
And did you ever see Mr. O'Keefe on that one?
I did not.
And at some point, the other officers who preceded your arrival, did they direct you to where Mr. O'Keefe was found when they first arrived?
They did.
And where was that sort of in relation to the property, if you recall?
If you're looking at 34 Fairview Road, it was on the left side of the property, about 8 feet from the road.
And in that sort of general area, what, if any, sort of landmarks or other sort of items in that area of the front yard did you observe?
I observed a flagpole. There was a fire hydrant and some brush area over there.
And upon your arrival on scene, who was the first person that you spoke to?
Sergeant Sean Good.
And you had some conversation with him, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then following talking to Sergeant
Good is the one who previously testified.
Good, who, if anyone else, did speak to once?
I spoke to Jennifer McCabe.
And where was it in relation to the scene that you first spoke to Jennifer McCabe?
I believe I spoke to Jennifer McCabe right in front of Mark Cruiser 683, which was assigned to Officer Sarif.
And then about how long a conversation was that initially with Ms. McCabe?
I would say probably 8 or 9 minutes.
And in addition to Ms. McCabe, what, if any, other sort of civilians did you observe in that area around that time?
I observed Kerry Roberts, and I don't recall seeing anybody else at the scene while I was focused on Ms. McCabe.
Now, with respect to Jennifer McCabe, I'll strike that. So,
Interesting. So he didn't notice Karen Reed, the woman with the blood on her face? I don't know if she was screaming at this point or if she was already done screaming.
after you spoke with Ms. McCabe for 8 or 9 minutes, then who, if anyone else, did you speak to at that time?
So after I spoke with Ms. McCabe, I believe I was able to then contact the CPAC unit.
And
Also, I can't wait to hear from Jen McCabe because I want to know, did she go inside that house before the family woke up, before they apparently woke up? Because they were trying to point her like they're pointing her towards like where the car was and then like going up the driveway, but we don't know if she actually went inside the house or not. Like I couldn't tell.
what is the CPAC unit?
CPAC unit is the investigative division for the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office.
Why did you contact them?
Because I was made aware at some point that it did not appear that Mr. O'Keefe was going to survive.
Yeah, and I think they're the ones who are supposed to come in and process the crime scene, but they're like, nah, we ain't coming.
And I wanted them to be aware of the situation.
And did they respond to that?
No.
Now, with
Had they
reference
responded, maybe we'll get different results, but I don't know. It seems like they were just like, nah, we ain't coming out. It's too cold. I don't know. Maybe they were busy.
to, is that sort of a typical protocol, or what, if any, sort of typical protocol would you have responding to a scene of this nature?
Yes, any sort of scene where it appears that the person is not going to survive, we would contact State Police CPAC unit
And why is that?
because they investigate all deaths.
So they have jurisdiction over all unattended deaths, is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, homicides, things of that nature.
Correct.
Now, once you recall who, if anyone, you spoke to on that first call or notification to CPAC?
It would have been just the dispatch center on the first call.
And what, if any, subsequent calls? Did you
Maybe there was a delay in relay of information from when John O'Keefe was declared dead at the hospital, and maybe it took them a while to relay it back to the law enforcement, and that's why law enforcement never called CPAC back up. Was like, hey, actually, he is dead. Y'all need to come here and investigate this ASAP. Come process this fucking crime scene.
have with regard to CPAC while you were on scene that morning?
I got a return call from Trooper Michael Proctor.
And from your conversation with Trooper Proctor, what was your understanding as far as their response to the scene at that time? So
at that point in time, Trooper Proctor informed me that they would not be responding.
I don't know what that noise is, but if I could just ask you to repeat your
What the fuck was that noise? Hello?
last response, because Franke got it.
Yes. In speaking to Trooper Proctor, he advised me at that point that they would not be responding.
And did he inform you as to why not at that time?
Objection.
Sustained.
Now, when you arrived on scene, what, if anything, did you note as far as the weather conditions?
The weather conditions were extremely poor. There were high winds, heavy snow, and freezing temperatures.
Now, the ambulance left in relation to when you arrived.
Very, very shortly after I arrived, I would say within 5 minutes.
Now, as far as injuries,
I arrived,
and when was it that the ambulance left in relation to when you arrived?
very, very shortly after I arrived, I would say within 5 minutes.
Now, as far as injuries to Mr. O'Keefe, who, if anyone, relayed any information in regard to that?
Sergeant Good advised me that
Objection.
Sustained.
Hearsay, I guess. So he arrived, and then the ambulance left for about 5 minutes. I think at that point, Karen Reed was probably still distraught and like yelling.
After I spoke to Ms. McCabe, I advised her that we were going to need to speak with the homeowners. She said that they were probably sleeping. I advised her that we were going to need to speak with them, and that's when I placed the call to the CPAC unit.
And prior to that, when you were on scene, had you seen anyone come in or go out of the residence at 34 Fairview Road?
No.
And as far as sort of the other houses on the street, what, if any, activity did you observe with reference to any residents of those homes coming in or going out of their homes?
I did not observe anybody come in or out of their home.
Did they even try to knock on the neighbor's door? Like, we know they didn't really do much with the Alberts, but did they knock around the neighbor's door? Like, hey, guys, by the way, there was a man that was found out here. Do you guys know what may have happened? Did you see anything? Did you hear anything? Do you have surveillance footage? I wonder if they did that. Or was it Trooper Proctor who did it a couple days later now?
Following your initial call to CPAC in conversation with Trooper Proctor, what is it that you did next?
Once that call was complete, Sergeant Good and I observed that there was now a light on in the house of 34 Fairview, and we made the decision to then go in and speak with the homeowners.
And how was it that you sort of proceeded up to the home?
I believe, I don't recall if we used I believe we used the driveway, but I'm not 100% sure.
And you came into the home, recall which door that you used to enter the home?
The main door, the front door.
When you entered in through the main door, what, if you could describe to the jury sort of what you observed as far as what was before you from a layout perspective?
There was a staircase right in front of us, and to the right, it entered into like what appeared to be like a dining area.
And who, if anyone, did you speak with inside the home that morning?
Hi, Daniela. How are you doing today?
Brian Albert and Nicole Albert.
And what, if any, relationship to the home did you determine based on your conversation with them?
They were the homeowners.
Brian Albert, is that someone that you knew prior to January 29, 2022?
Yes.
How did you know him?
I knew him as the oldest of the Albert brothers.
Is he the one that he's civil with? There's one of the Alberts that he kept saying civil, and I'm like, civil? That's a weird way to describe a relationship with someone. It must mean that they don't like each other, but they can be cordial with one another when they see each other.
And did you know some of the other Albert brothers?
Yes.
And let me ask you this, Sergeant. Where did you grow up?
Canton.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
We moved here, we moved to Canton when I was 5 years old.
So essentially, since you were 5 years old, you live in the town, correct?
Yes.
You work in the town, correct?
Yes.
You have children?
I do.
Any of them play sports?
They do.
Objection.
I'm sustained.
Move to strike.
Start that.
What, if any, other sort of, other than living and working in the town, what, if anything else, is it that you do around the town?
Is it like because of relevance? Is that why?
I coach youth sports.
And have you done? How long have you done that for?
I would say at least 9 or 10 years.
And how would you describe your relationship with Brian Albert prior to that January 29, 2022?
Civil.
Do you friends? Do you socialize?
No.
Was today? I don't know. I don't think today was as bad as yesterday though. Yesterday was like.
Now, in addition to Brian Albert and Nicole Albert,
We haven't gotten to the nude photos yet in this trial, so we'll get to it when we get to it. Maybe we'll get to Trooper Proctor. Maybe we won't. We'll see.
anyone else? Where did you speak to them within the home?
Just inside the door by the staircase.
And how would you describe their demeanor when you were speaking to them?
They appeared, especially Mr. Albert, appeared disheveled, looked like he had just woken up.
And about how long a conversation was it between Brian Albert and Nicole Albert that initial time?
I'd say 15, 20 minutes.
And beyond that, who, if anyone else, did you see within the home besides yourself, Sergeant Goods, and Mr. and Mrs. Albert?
Jennifer McCabe?
No one else at that time?
No.
Are you familiar with a gentleman named Brian Hayes?
I am.
And how are you?
Like, I wonder if they're just like fucking hungover or they were just tired from partying all night.
I met Brian when he was stationed at our police station. I don't know how many years ago it was, but he was assigned to our building years ago. That's how I met him.
And assigned in what capacity? What I mean by that, what did you do for work?
Brian is a ATF agent.
And did you see Mr. Higgins at any point in time during the time that you were at Fairview Road that morning?
Not on my initial response.
So sometime after, is that correct?
Yes.
And when about was that?
That would have been shortly after 9 a.m.
Mr. Higgins,
But
are you familiar with a gentleman named Brian Hayes?
I am.
And how are you familiar with him?
I met Brian when he was stationed at our police station. I don't know how many years ago it was, but he was assigned to our building years ago. That's how I met him.
And assigned in what capacity? What I mean by that, what did you do for work?
Brian is a ATF agent.
And did you see Mr. Higgins at any point in time during the time that you were at Fairview Road that morning?
Not on my initial response.
So sometime after, is that correct?
Yes.
And when about was that?
That would have been shortly after 9 a.m.
And We'll get to that in a moment. But after your conversation with Brian Albert and Nicole Albert inside the house, what is it that you did then?
Could you repeat that,
Yeah,
please?
confusing because there's a Brian Albert, there's a Nicole Albert, and there's a million other Alberts, and now we have a Brian Higgins.
After talking to the homeowners, what was your next step on scene that day? What did you do next?
After speaking with the family, came out by that point, Lieutenant Gallagher was on scene and spoke with Lieutenant Gallagher as to what we were going to do next as far as the scene itself.
And to that end, what, if anything, did you or the other officers do with regard to sort of security of the scene events?
So we had put up some crime scene tape to try to protect the scene, but it was a futile effort because of the wind. But there were marked patrol cars in front of the yard at all times, so the scene was fairly secure at all times.
And then, with relation to the scene or the area that you were directed, or your attention was directed to as to where Mr. O'Keefe had been found, what, if anything, did you do with reference to that area?
I stood by and observed while Lieutenant Gallagher used a leaf blower to try to clear the top layers of snow off of the scene.
I haven't had any issues with the judge so far, other than like my curiosity for the scheduling and the objections with no grounds thing. But I haven't had any issues with the judge so far. Mostly right now it's like the witnesses and Mr. State Prosecutor.
And at some point in time, well, that particular process, was that memorialized in any way?
Yes,
And how was it done so far?
in my report.
I'm sorry, beyond that, was there any sort of photos or video that were taken of that leaf blower process?
Yes, Sergeant Good was able to take video while Lieutenant Gallagher used a leaf blower.
You've seen that video, is that correct?
Yes.
And what's contained in
If
that
only we had captions, I could just speed through this.
video, is that a fair and accurate
Actually, I'm
portrayal
gonna
of what
speak to
happened
this.
on
Is
scene
that
that morning?
Yes.
Now, in addition let me ask you this, as far as the leaf blower was concerned, what was sort of the purpose of that? What was the thinking behind that?
The purpose behind the leaf blower was to just take the top layers of snow off to reveal what was underneath and try to preserve any potential evidence.
And on employing that, what, if anything, did you then observe in that area?
Like all this is repetitive, so I'm just gonna just.
Ultimately, we were able to see what appeared to be blood drops in the snow as well.
I know, David, but I want to know the grounds. I want to know the grounds. I mean, I like it because it moves on pretty quickly, but yeah, I want to know the grounds. I want to hear the arguments and all that stuff. I don't like it when they do sidebars to do the arguments. I'm like, I want to hear the fucking arguments. I want to hear everything. I'm nosy.
Is a drinking glass, cocktail glass.
Now, in addition to the video that was taken with regard to the leaf blowing process, or the use of the leaf blower, were the photos that were taken in the scene as well?
Yes.
And, Ms. Gilman, if I could have exhibit number 27.
Also, I wonder if they're going to have the restaurant owner. So they went to a bar called Waterfall. I wonder if they're going to have the restaurant owner or like employees come in and testify. Be like, oh, yeah, that martini glass matches the one that we usually have at our place. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. So many questions.
Sergeant Lang, what's up on the screen that's been previously marked as exhibit 27? Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what do you recognize it, please?
I recognize that to be the scene that we were working with the leaf blower.
May I approach the witness room?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to forward through this because we've already seen this. They get the leaf blower. They found the cocktail glass, but they did not find any taillight shards.
Secured, just in reference to the solo cups, beyond sort of just putting them into solo cups, what, if anything else, did you or the other
They're going to talk about the solo cups. That's where there was like blood that was frozen in the snow. They used the leaf blower to blow it out to expose what's underneath. They found the blood chunks, and then they found the martini glass. They used red solo cups, got them from a neighbor to collect it because they didn't have a container with them. Or there was no container at the station that they could use, they said. There's no point in using cotton swabs. So I'm just going to skip through this part.
from your park, correct?
Oh, the treadmill murder trial was so sad. Hi, Christine. How are you doing today? I watched the fucking video, dude. Fuck that guy. And I feel so bad for the child because shitty dad, and then the mom, I think she was like a recovering like drug addict or something, right? I just feel so bad because like I think at some point she had to do share custody with the dad, and that's why the son had to go back and forth between abusive fucking dad and then the mom. I don't know if she was like on drugs at the time, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel so bad for that fucking kid. Super fucking sad. And apparently they tried to get I think like CPS was involved, and they were supposed to remove the child from the father's care, but no one actually acted on it. That's what I read in an article. The whole thing was just like, I don't know, it's just so fucking sad. He didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance.
From our department, yes.
And following that,
She filed for emergency custody and they denied it. I think I don't know if that's separate, but I just heard that apparently they were supposed to remove him from the father's care. It was approved, but no one acted on it. Like someone just forgot to do it or something. I don't know. It was like something like that. Ugh, God. Ugh, I hate that case. Ugh, it's so sad.
are you aware or what, if anything, are you aware of what happened with those items after you secured them into temporary evidence?
I believe they were ultimately turned over to the state police.
Recognize that?
What is this? What's in the box? What's in the box? We talk about
Appears
Brad
to be
Pitt
a
again.
box to secure evidence with a call number on it.
And is that a box that you've seen earlier today?
Yes.
And with reference to what's contained within the box, have you seen that this morning as well?
Yes.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would ask that the witness be allowed. Sir, just for the
Open the box. Putting the gloves on. Get some baggies.
sorry, sir, before you just go into that, just with reference to the bag that you have before you,
The mother made about like 100 police reports or CPS reports on the father. Ugh, so sad.
what if any markings are on that that relate to sort of your case, your case number with Kansas Police?
So it is there's a case number assigned to us, 22-870F, and there is a property number, 22-18PR.
Contained within that, is that the piece of the cocktail glass that you observed on the front
Oh, this is the cocktail glass. Okay, I'm like, is there red solo cups in there?
yard area of 34 Fairview Road on January 29th, 2022?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would ask that the witness be allowed to take it out of the bag and display it to the jury.
Oh, but he's got like rubber gloves on and is reaching to glass. Eee, don't cut yourself. Be careful. Oh, it's just like a rocks glass. Okay. Yeah, I feel like they can go to the bar and be like, hey, do you guys have any glassware that matches this?
Thank you, sir. We can place it back in the bag.
Because apparently they did get the restaurant surveillance footage and they did see John O'Keefe leaving the restaurant, the bar, whatever, with a cocktail glass in his hand. Next time I throw a party, I'm going to make sure I have plenty of police evidence collectors for serving drinks. Listen, I have cameras everywhere in my fucking house, okay? If anything goes down or if anything doesn't go down, it's all in here. I have cameras everywhere. Ain't nobody going to accuse me of murder.
Colonel Commonwealth, seek to introduce in the minutes of next exhibit. Once we're back at the
I can't wait to see the taillight pieces. Can we see the taillight pieces also? Or probably will be with a different witness.
if anyone calls you once we're back at stage.
Jennifer McCabe called at 9 a.m.
And where did you go following that phone call with Jennifer McCabe?
Lieutenant Gallagher and I went back to 34 Fairview Road.
So this is now the third time that you've gone back and gone inside the residence at 34 Fairview Road, is that correct?
That's correct.
And who, if anyone, did you speak with?
Wait,
along
why did Jennifer McCabe call them back in?
with yourself and Lieutenant Gallagher?
Jennifer,
Once we're back at the police station, what, if any, call did you receive from anyone in regard to what happened? Who, if anyone, called you once you were back at the station?
Jennifer McCabe called at 9 a.m.
And where did you go following that phone call with Jennifer McCabe?
Lieutenant Gallagher and I went back to 34 Fairview Road.
So this is now the third time that you've gone back and gone inside the residence at 34 Fairview Road, is that correct?
That's correct.
And who, if anyone, did you speak with along with yourself and Lieutenant Gallagher once you returned there that morning?
Jennifer McCabe.
Okay, but how long a period of conversation was that second conversation that you had with Mr. McCabe?
Between 5 and 10 minutes.
And then following that, where did you go from there?
Returned to the police station.
What do you guys talk about?
Now,
Why did she call you
your
back?
attention to February
happened?
4th of 2022. You working on that?
What happened? What did she say? what did they?
I was.
And in the same capacity that you had described earlier?
Yes.
And at some point, well, approximately 8:50 a.m. or so, who, if anyone, called you on that?
Lieutenant Gallagher.
And what, if anything, or where did he direct you to go during the course of that conversation?
Lieutenant Gallagher directed me to go back to 34 Fairview Road and meet with Chief Berkowitz as he had possibly.
Wait, what day?
And then following that, where did you go from there that morning? Gone back and gone inside the residence at 34 Fairview Road, is that correct?
That's correct.
And who, if anyone, did you speak with along with yourself and Lieutenant Gallagher once you returned there that morning?
Jennifer McCabe.
Okay, but how long a period of conversation was that second conversation that you had with Mr. McCabe?
Between 5 and 10 minutes.
And then following that, where did you go from there?
Returned to the police station.
What if anything capability does the prosecutor have to sort of talk like a normal human being? I just don't know if something happened in pretrial where he got shit on by the judge for how he asked questions or something, and now he just has PTSD, and now he's just gonna like go full on like, let me say what if anything with all of my questions. I don't know. I don't know if something happened during pretrial or what, or maybe it's just his style of asking questions. Oh no.
Now,
I don't
if I could
know.
turn your attention to February 4th of 2022. You were working on that day?
I was.
Oh, February 4th.
And in the same capacity that you had described earlier?
Yes.
And at some point, well, approximately 8:50 a.m. or so, who, if anyone, called you on that day?
Lieutenant Gallagher.
And what, if anything, or where did he direct you to go?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of who, if anyone. I thought it'd be like who. I don't know. I don't
During
know.
the course of that conversation.
Lieutenant Gallagher directed me to go back to 34 Fairview Road and meet with Chief Berkowitz as he had possibly discovered more evidence.
And in the time between January 29th and February 4th, had you gone back to 34 Fairview Road at any point?
No.
Now, between that time of January 29th, 2022 and February 4th of 2022, what, if anything, occurred in regards to the weather in between those days?
So the weather had, the temperatures had increased and there was some rain.
And increased, if you know, approximately how much?
I believe it made it up to the mid-40s.
Degrees,
well above
y'all.
freezing, is that correct?
Not
Correct.
Celsius.
And with regard to the snowfall that had come from the
Sorry, I had to say Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
28th and the 29th, what, if anything, just in general, had you, well, not in general, specifically to 34 Fairview Road, what, if anything, did you observe between the snow that you observed there on the 29th and the snow that you observed there on February 4th?
A lot of the snow had melted and a lot of the ground had been revealed.
And when you arrived at 34 Fairview Road on February 4th, what, if anything, did you observe and where did you observe?
Chief Berkowitz brought my attention to a piece of red glass that was about 6 to 8 feet off the into the yard.
Now,
I mean, maybe Elaine was his law mentor. I don't know. There's a lot of things that we don't know.
before we get to that, as far as when you responded, who, if anyone else from your department, responded along with you?
Detective Tim Taylor.
And the pieces of plastic that you observed, where were they in relation to where you had observed or where you had been directed to that Mr. O'Keefe had been found on January 29th?
The glass was in the vicinity of where Mr. O'Keefe had been discovered.
Now, with respect to that pieces of plastic that you observed, what, if anything, did you do to memorialize where they were?
I photographed the piece of plastic as it sat.
And did you or anyone in your presence touch, manipulate, or move those pieces of plastic in any way?
No.
And at some point after you arrived on scene, who, if anyone, did you contact in regard to securing those items?
I contacted the CPAC unit, and ultimately Trooper Buchanan arrived back at the scene.
Oh, so the CPAC unit finally decided to come and process the scene? Huh? Days later, were they like, oh, actually, okay, you're right. We should have came the first time. Let's just come now. If the weather's a little bit better, I guess we'll come out.
At some point after you arrived on scene, who, if anyone, did you contact in regard to securing those items?
I contacted the CPAC unit,
I know. It's Celsius. Yeah. It's Celsius. Yeah.
and ultimately Trooper Buchanan arrived back at the scene.
And if you know about how much time elapsed between the time that you contacted CPAC and the time that Buchanan arrived?
I honestly don't recall.
And when Trooper Buchanan arrived on scene, what, if anything, did you observe him to do with those pieces of plastic that you directed his attention to?
Trooper Buchanan secured the item into a evidence bag.
Buchanan?
Can I approach you?
Yes.
So where was Trooper Proctor? Was he not there? Wait, I thought they were trying to say that Trooper Proctor was the one who planted the evidence there and took pictures and blah 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 blah. Where's Proctor at? Where's Mr. Proctor at?
So I'm showing you two photographs. That's just briefly to look
Did
them over.
Trooper did Trooper Buchanan? Did he put it in a shop and stop bag?
When you finish. Do you recognize those, sir?
I do.
What do you recognize in those photographs?
I recognize this to be the piece of plastic that Chief Berkowitz had observed on that morning.
Those are the photographs that you took that morning as well, is that correct?
That's correct.
What's contained in those photographs, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you observed on February 4th, 2022?
Yes, it is.
Now, the Commonwealth seeks to introduce in the minutes the next two exhibits.
Neither. It's Sal with a C, not Sal with an S. Ugh, what a silly question.
Green card.
Yes.
And
Oh. Okay, so let's try to see how big this is. So there's a chunkling right there. We see a footprint right there. Don't know what size shoe that is. Maybe like a size, I don't know. It could be 5 because there was one female paramedic there. I don't fucking know. Okay, there's a chunkling there. We don't know. We have no idea how big that is.
this is sort of a further out
Small.
image of that piece of plastic you were talking about, is that correct?
Yes.
Using the laser pointer before you, if you could just draw the jury's attention to where in the photograph sir, that's...
I'm not gaslighting. I would never do that. Look at this face. You can trust his face.
Thanks. Ms. Gilman, the next photograph.
Okay, now when they zoom in like that, it looks like a pretty big chunkling. How big is this? I need to know the size. How many inches? How many kilometers?
And sir, do you again recognize what's up on the screen?
Yes, it's a close-up picture of the piece of plastic.
Thanks. Ms. Gilman, you can...
Okay, we have a piece of plastic. We don't know how fucking big. Like, it looks small here, right? Obviously. And then when they zoom in, I don't know. I want to know how big this plastic is. All right, let me take a picture for my record.
Ms. Gilman. And sir, do you again recognize what's up on the screen?
Yes, it's a close-up picture of the piece of plastic.
It's shiny, bright, and red.
Ms. Gilman, you can... If I may have...
Yes. Folks, you may use this evidence to the extent that demonstrates.
What we got going on?
All right, jurors, so you're about to hear evidence of an event that happened in 2002. This evidence can be
Jurors like, 2002? What happened in 2002?
considered by you insofar as it demonstrates or relates to the credibility of this witness and the thoroughness of the investigation into this case for which the defendant is currently on trial before you folks. You may use this evidence to the extent that you find it credible in deciding whether there was any bias or favoritism on the part of the police in their investigation in this case.
May I?
Mr. Jackson, yes.
Lieutenant Lank, I want to start by asking you about
So now the juror is going to look at Lieutenant Lank over there and say, was there any bias? Hello? Any prejudice? Now they're going to tell the story of what happened in 2002.
relationship with certain members of the Albert family. Do you know any other members of the Albert family other than Brian Albert?
Yes.
Can you describe who those are?
Kevin Albert, who is a detective.
No. Massachusetts does not use washing machines as a tool of measurement. The rest of America does, okay? But not Massachusetts. What's a chunkling? I don't know, a chunkling. How do I explain a chunkling? It's like a chunk, but a ling, but a smaller size, I guess. A chunkling.
On our department, Chris Albert, and I know Tim Albert.
Are those three individuals brothers?
Yes.
Who is the eldest brother?
Brian.
How long have you known, I want to start first with Tim Albert. How long have you known Tim Albert?
I knew Tim Albert when he was
Sorry, family tree, hello?
And Albert, who is a detective.
Hold on. Albert family tree. No, this is not what I wanted. What? No, Court TV. Yes. Okay. Oh, Tim Albert's not even on here. Annoying. Okay, just kidding. Tim Albert's not even on this fucking family tree. Where's the family tree with the Alberts on there? Oh, God. Someone must have made one.
On our department, Chris Albert, and I know Tim Albert.
Are those three individuals brothers?
Yes.
Who is the eldest brother?
Brian.
How long have you known, I want to start first with Tim Albert. How long have you known Tim Albert?
I knew Tim Albert when he was a kid because he was friends with a younger brother of a friend of mine.
Starting at what age?
12.
So you've known,
He was 12. I was probably, say, 16 or so.
okay, so the better part of your life, you've known Tim Albert.
Since about 16, I would say.
And what about Chris Albert?
Chris Albert, I've known since junior high.
Which would be about what age?
13, 14.
You grew up with
12,
Chris?
12, 13. I was friendly with Chris from junior high through high school and into our 20s.
And friendly with Tim?
I wouldn't say I was friendly to say hello to Tim. I didn't associate with him. He was younger. It was Chris's younger brother.
But you also knew Chris's older brother, Brian.
Yes.
Who wants to hang out with a loser younger brother anyways? Oh, younger brothers.
Those days.
I knew who he was.
So you've known the three of them for basically your entire life.
No, I had met them. I had met Brian. I didn't know him other than just being Chris's older brother when we were younger kids.
Certainly with regard to Chris, you would
Brian
consider
was too cool for them.
him a close friend.
Consider who a close friend?
Chris. I'm
Yes.
saying first names only because they're all
Sure. Chris and I were pretty good friends when we were younger, yes.
I want to draw your attention to an incident in August of 2002. Do you remember an incident in 2002 occurring with that involved Chris Albert?
Yes.
In 2002, in August of 2002 specifically, you were off duty, correct?
Yes.
You had been drinking alcohol, correct?
Yes.
You were approached by Chris Albert out in the parking lot, is that right?
That's correct.
And Chris Albert told you some information about being in a fight, that he had been in a fight or an altercation of some sort, correct?
He told me he had been in an altercation earlier in the night and some threats had been made to him and his family.
And you got out of your car and discussed this with Mr. Albert, correct?
No.
You just talked to him while you were seated in your car?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did some other individuals approach that same area?
Yes.
Was there a fight that you believed was about to ensue?
Yes.
Did you get out of your car at that point?
I did.
Did you come to Chris's aid by, quote unquote, activating yourself as an officer?
I got out of my car and I approached the group and I pleaded with them to not fight tonight. I said, there's not going to be a fight tonight. There's 6 of you guys. He's here with his girlfriend. There's not going to be a fight tonight.
Did you come to Chris Albert's aid as best you could as a longtime friend of his?
I came to the aid of a citizen who was in fear and of need.
That citizen happened to be Chris Albert, whom you had known since you were 12 years old.
Correct.
Ultimately, a fight did break out, did it not?
Yes.
And you engaged in that fight.
Yes.
And again,
Oh, if we only had security surveillance back then.
you had been drinking alcohol at that point, correct?
Correct.
And you were off duty in August of 2002 during this fight.
Yes.
Just like you were off duty in 2022 when you were called by Sergeant Good to activate and come to the crime scene at 34 Fairview.
When Sergeant Good contacted me, I was not working. I was due to work at 7:45 that morning. When Sergeant Good contacted me and told me what was going on, then I activated myself and came to work because I was the detective sergeant.
So the defense is trying to say, okay, well, over 20 years ago, you were off duty, but then you activated yourself into a police officer, and then you came into the aid of your friend Chris Albert. Now, 20 years later, seems like you were off duty, and then you activated yourself because you came to the crime scene where John O'Keefe's body was found on the lawn of the Albert family. But the difference, it seems, is that it just seems like he came to work earlier. I mean, I don't know. I get what the defense is trying to do.
And that's similar to sort of activation using that
Because
word.
like he was due to go there at like what 7:45, but instead he showed up at like what 6:15 or something.
In air quotes, similar sort of
6:30?
activation that you employed back in 2002 to assist Chris Albert.
No.
You did, in fact, call for someone to call the police and get some Canton officers over there, correct?
Excuse me. So in 2002?
In 2002.
Yes.
Okay. And I failed to ask you this, but in 2002, you were, in fact, a Canton police officer.
Yes.
At the time. After the other officers arrived, did you order the other officers to handcuff or somehow restrain one of the 2 brothers that were involved in this fight with Chris?
No.
Ultimately, did you see whether or not those officers handcuffed or otherwise restrained one of the brothers that was involved in this fight?
Yes.
And did you then engage physically in a fight with the other brother who was not restrained?
No. The struggle had already occurred.
All right. So let me make sure I get the timing right. You did, in
One of the brothers dipped out.
fact, engage in a
So
physical
one of the brothers like, bye. I left his brother behind. Oh no.
fight with one of the brothers, correct?
Upon being struck, yes.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Upon being struck, yes.
And then
So he's saying that he was hit first, but in the other report that the other person filed, they said that he hit them first. So it's like a he said, she said.
you struck him back.
Yes.
You ended up on the ground.
Yes, we were wrestling, yes.
And ultimately, the other officers had to pull you off that man, correct?
No.
You ultimately, the fight was broken up between you and the other brother. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. And that fight was broken up by the officers who were on scene.
Yes.
After this physical altercation with the brother who was not ultimately restrained, both of the brothers and everybody else was just told by the officers, just go away. Get out of here, go home, correct?
No, I believe one of the brothers left the scene, fled the scene, and the brother that was restrained was ultimately uncuffed and left free to go.
And nobody was arrested that night.
Correct.
Nobody chased down the brother that left the scene, correct?
That's correct.
And nobody arrested the brother that had been handcuffed.
Correct.
And no police reports were written by you or any of the other officers about this incident on that night.
I don't recall when the other officers wrote theirs. I did not write mine on that night.
The next day, you became aware that one or both of the brothers had arrived at Canton Police Department to file a formal complaint for having been physically attacked by you and some of the other officers involved, correct?
I don't recall when I was made aware that they had come down to the police station.
You are aware that there was a complaint sought against you for the physical attack that was alleged to have occurred, correct?
It was brought to my attention that they had come down to the police station.
And you also are aware that only after that complaint had been sought, the police reports were then dated and filed against the 2 brothers, correct?
So I had spoken to the sergeant on duty the night of the
Yes or no
incident.
question.
So see, the defense attorney is cutting him off there because what we found out in Vaudier was that I think he talked to his sergeant that night. He thought about writing a report, but then the sergeant was like, "Oh, you could just write the report next time you come in to work, whenever it is." And that happened to be like a couple days after. But the defense is saying that like, "Oh, y'all didn't file your own report until they try to come in and report you."
I'm just looking at
It's not a yes or no question.
So he was just asking you about dates. So can you answer the question? Ask the question
Could you
about the
repeat?
dates again, please.
Just like, hurry it up, chop chop. I got things to do today.
seeking the chronology of events. A fight occurs, a complaint against you occurs, and then police reports are filed against the two people that are complaining against you. Is that the chronology?
Yes.
But I mean, I'm sure he'll be able to explain it through Lolly, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess we can see that. Yeah, I don't know.
And you're also aware that
That's what it
although
appears to me.
he had been in a physical fight that night, no charges were ever brought against Chris Albert, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Do you know that?
I don't know. I don't even know where the fight occurred.
She's like, can you have an
Officer
answer?
Lane, what we just talked about, is that an example of you using your position as a police officer to come to the aid of one of the members of the Albert family?
Dun, dun, dun.
It was me coming to the aid of a citizen who was terrified and scared for him and his family on that night.
Who happened to
Who
be
happened?
named what?
Excuse me. Who happened to be Chris Albert.
You mentioned Kevin Albert. Who's he?
Kevin Albert is a detective with the Canton Police.
Is he a coworker?
Yes.
How long have you known him?
Probably since 14, 15 years old.
And you also consider him to be a friend as well as a coworker
I do.
and a colleague.
Yes.
And you're also well aware. I mean, you've said it already. He's the little brother of Brian Albert.
Correct.
And you're also aware that the reason that your department was ultimately recused from this investigation, Lieutenant Lank, is because of a perceived bias or conflict of interest between the Albert family and the Canton Police Department, correct?
Yes, there was a perceived bias.
Can you tell me one more time, and now I want to fast forward to the incident in question. What was the exact time that you arrived at the location, if you know?
I believe it was around 6:24, 6:25.
Okay. And you indicated that that was in response to a call that you got from Sergeant Good.
Yes, that's correct.
What made you decide, or could you have decided, to take this particular call? Was it up to you, in other words?
I would never not take that call.
Okay, fair enough. So once you got the call, you knew that you were going to respond because there was something very serious afoot.
Correct.
Did you know at the time you got the call that that very serious incident was occurring at 34 Fairview?
No.
When did you realize that?
Upon speaking with Sergeant Good.
Okay, so Sergeant Good didn't, I guess that's what maybe I asked an inartful question. I was asking whether or not Sergeant Good told you before you actually arrived, he sort of had to have, that it's at 34 Fairview.
He did.
Okay. At that point,
Because how else would he know how to get there?
did a light bulb go off and you think to yourself, ding, that's the Albert House?
I don't recall if I realized it then or once I turned onto the street. I don't recall.
At some
Yeah, because again, it's I don't know if Chris was Chris there? Was Chris at the party? I know it was Brian, Nicole, Jennifer McCabe, and Matt McCabe, and Brian Higgins, the ATF agent. I don't know if Chris was inside.
point before your car came to a stop, you knew this is 34 Fairview, this is the Albert household.
I knew that was Brian Albert's house, yes.
When you arrived, who was the ranking officer at the scene? You mentioned, obviously we've heard these names, Sergeant Good, Officer Mulaney, Officer Seraph, you. Who was the ranking officer?
When I arrived, Sergeant Good was the ranking officer.
Have you reviewed either, well, let me ask you a different question. Did you have a dash cam in the vehicle that you arrived in?
I did not.
And that's because it was that a detective vehicle?
Yes.
Sometimes used undercover, et cetera?
Yes.
So it's not a fully marked cruiser.
No, not at all.
The other cruisers you're aware did have dash cams, correct?
Yes.
Have you reviewed any or all of those dash cams from Officer Mulaney, Officer Seraph, Sergeant Good?
Yes.
And you reviewed those in preparation for your testimony?
Yes.
I'd like to show you what's been previously marked as Exhibit 16. Permission?
Yeah.
Of,
So let's not describe that.
sure. What do you see on the screen?
I see two still images.
Okay. Do you recognize either or both of those images?
Yes.
How do you recognize them?
It looks like the scene from that morning. I believe it's going to be the top one, anyways. That 683 Officer Seraph's cruiser.
And the bottom one?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It looks like possibly Sergeant Good's based on where it's placed.
Okay. If we could fast forward to the 28:40 mark or so, just basically play that.
Fast forward.
And let's pause it for a second. You want to maybe approach briefly in?
Okay.
I love how the defense's pointer is like that. How come they can't use the same pointers? Because the state has this like dinky pointer. The defense's pointer is like really nice. Are they just not sharing technology? It's like, no, this technology's mine.
The Officer Sheriff Gasham?
Yes,
Did you have some sort of conversation with her?
I did.
At some point, did you see Ms. McCabe leave your presence and walk toward the driveway?
Once the conversation had terminated, I honestly don't recall where she went.
Did she tell you that she intended to go inside the house?
Yeah, so we don't know if Jennifer McCabe, did she go inside the house? Was she just walking like towards the house? I don't know. Lots of questions.
I had said to her that at some point we're going to need to speak to Brian and Nicole
Why did you think it was important to speak to Brian and Nicole?
because it's their property.
And somebody was laying in the snow, unconscious and unresponsive, correct?
Correct.
And obviously that could potentially, at least, implicate people inside the house.
Based on my conversation with Ms. McCabe, she had stated that the intention was for Mr. McCabe, for Mr. O'Keefe to join them at that house. So I wanted to get statements from everybody who was there.
Find out what happened, correct?
Correct.
I mean, that's sort of the obvious initial point of an investigation. Find out who the witnesses are and interview all of them, correct?
Correct.
And you began
Man, I wonder what John O'Keefe's family is thinking.
by talking to Ms. McCabe,
Yes.
knowing that she was a potential witness at least, correct?
She identified herself as a friend of Mr. O'Keefe.
Who had been with Mr. O'Keefe just hours before.
Yes.
He ended up laying in the snow fighting for his life, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you also knew that there were other witnesses potentially inside the house because she just told you that, right?
I knew that that was ultimately where he was supposed to end up.
So if there were other witnesses in the house, if there were other individuals in the house, they also were potential witnesses.
Potentially.
And Ms. McCabe indicated, I'm going to go in the house, correct?
I had told her that she's going to have to wake her sister up because we're going to need to speak with them.
You didn't think that it was more important to separate the witnesses and not let her talk to other witnesses?
No.
You thought that it was appropriate to let all the witnesses get together and just discuss the facts before you have an opportunity to interview them?
Yeah, because Jen McCabe, they could have told her, like, hey, can you call your sister? I'm going to stand right next to you. Just call your sister and tell her to come out. There's been a body found in front of her lawn. Or he could have just knocked himself, right?
Separately?
Objection.
It is to the form.
Just letting the sound go on.
That's fine.
Lieutenant Lake, if you could direct your attention to the area that I highlighted earlier. Let's go ahead and play the video.
But I wonder if, like, they just didn't treat it as a proper investigation because it was like, oh, you know, I know these people. They're friends of people that I know, blah, blah, blah. They just, like, place that amount of trust in them, which they shouldn't have. So you never know.
Did you see anything occur at or around the car in the
Oh,
distance?
look at this. Look at that beautiful pointer. I love it. Hi, Chai.
It
Hello.
appears to be somebody walking towards the house.
Was that Jim McCabe?
I can't say for sure.
Do you see yourself, by the way, in this video?
Yes.
Where are you?
Can't see shit.
Right here.
Okay. You described sort of, I don't know if it's tan or gray.
It's a gray North Face jacket with black on the top.
Okay.
So that's
Toward the
him right
shoulders.
Yes.
All right. Let's go ahead and play the video, and I'll indicate another.
How you been,
stop
Chai?
I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about.
So that's him. Three other officers, I think.
That's a crap load of time.
Thank you so much for the reason for 58 months. Hello. That is a good amount of time. Okay, more. It's not enough time.
Apologies. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm standing in front of you.
Snow, 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 snow. Wait, someone just came out?
Did you see another person shorter in stature approach you?
Is that Carrie
I
Roberts?
believe right there. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Who is that?
I believe it's Kerry Roberts.
Okay. Stop there. How's it? Did you see yourself just exit screen right?
Yes.
You had something in your hand?
I think they call it like homicidal OWI or something like that. Which I don't know how they're going to prove that. I'm very confused. Very, very confused. But I don't know. I don't know how they're going to prove that. Maybe they have a... Maybe there's something up in their hands that we don't know. Motor vehicle manslaughter while driving under influence. That's what she's charged with. Second-degree murder and leaving the scene of a collision causing injury or death. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to prove the influence part.
Yes.
You're taking a call
Yes.
On your cell phone.
Yes.
What was that call?
I don't recall. It could have. I can't see what time that is. I don't believe that I made the call to the CPAC unit until around 6:38, so I'm not sure who that call is to.
This shit is confusing, okay? It's hard. It's confusing as fuck.
If you'll direct your attention, I think now down toward the camera below,
Yes.
you may see yourself into the frame. Can we go ahead and play it? Go ahead and pause it. Does it appear you're on the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
That's him right there. On the phone. Hey, what's up, Go Lucky? How are you? I don't know where Jen McCabe went. I could barely see.
Pause it. Did it appear that you walked off screen left?
Yes.
Still on the phone?
Yes.
Pause it. Did you see somebody following that same direction?
It looked like Officer Seraph.
Go ahead and play it.
Actually, I'm wrong because that's Officer Seraph right there, so I'm incorrect.
You think it might have been Sergeant Good?
Can we play it back?
With court's permission.
Sure, go ahead.
Pause. You recognize that person?
Yes, I'm mistaken. That's Sergeant Good.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just pouring through this, you guys.
Pause it. Does it appear that you walked back into the frame?
Yes.
Are you followed by anybody?
I believe it's still Sergeant Good.
Are you speaking to Sergeant Good or are you walking away from him? Okay, tell.
In that frame, it appears I'm standing right next to him.
Okay, so pause it. Did it appear you were walking away from Sergeant Good off frame again?
Yes, it appears that I'm pacing.
We're still on the phone?
Yes.
Go ahead. Pause it. Directing your attention to the top video. Do you see the SUV in the video?
Yes.
Does that SUV appear to be leaving the scene?
Yes.
Do you know who's in that video? In that SUV?
I believe
Is that when Karen Reed and everyone else is leaving?
it's going to be Kerry Roberts and Karen Reed.
Okay, go ahead and play.
So where's Jennifer McCabe?
Pause it. At that point, are you walking
Because
back?
Carrie Roberts and Karen Reed, they leave the scene together, but then Carrie Roberts brings Karen Reed back because at that point, Karen Reed's on the phone with her father and she's making some threatening, I guess, she's like, yeah, saying some things about like, taking her life and stuff like that. The dad was really worried. Dad calls in and gets in touch with the dispatcher, and dispatcher contacts one of the guys in the law enforcement and was like, okay, hey, get Karen Reed back to the scene and we need to bring her in for, what's it called? Section 14?
Into the frame on the lower video.
But where is Jennifer McCabe?
Yes.
Because Jennifer didn't drive, so she's not like sitting in her car warming up.
At this point,
Maybe she has the keys to her sister's house.
Lieutenant, are the lights on the at 34 Fairview on or off?
Off?
They still appear to be off.
And at some point while you were at the scene, did the lights come on? I think you testified to that earlier.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like you to pay special attention to that moment and maybe tell me to stop when you see those lights come on. It may be a minute or so.
Sure.
I'm going to speed it up.
At this point, does it appear that you're still on the phone?
Yes.
At this point, is there anything changed in the scene?
Yes.
What's that?
It appears that there's now a light on inside the home.
At this point, Ms. McCabe has been inside the house for approximately how long, if you could estimate?
Maybe 3 minutes.
And are you still on the phone? Or have you been in that call?
I can't tell if I'm still on the phone at that point. I know that right around this time is when I end up speaking to the CPAC unit, because I believe I get into the vehicle.
Let's play just a little bit further forward, maybe another 30 seconds or so. Does it appear at this point, if you can see, does it appear that you've ended that call, or at least your hands are down by your side?
I can't tell.
Okay. You would agree with me that's all for that? Okay. You would agree with me that was, without counting seconds, that was about a 5-minute phone call, and maybe it was better than 5 minutes?
I wasn't watching, to be honest.
Do you have any idea who you were talking to now that you've seen that?
I could make an educated guess, but I don't know for sure.
You did notice that several minutes after Jim McCabe went in the house, and while you were on that phone call, the lights finally came on at 34 Fairview, correct?
Correct.
At the point the lights came on, the ladder truck had already gone, left from the scene, correct? The fire engine.
I believe so.
The firefighters are all gone.
Yes.
The ambulance has already left and transported Mr. O'Keefe.
Yes.
The paramedics are gone, the EMTs.
Yes.
Fire captain and his SUV, that's gone. Is that right?
I'm sorry, was there a question?
The fire captain and his SUV, that's gone.
I'm not sure.
In other words, all the fire and EMTs.
I don't see them on camera.
Doesn't appear that any fire or EMTs are still on scene, correct?
Doesn't appear so.
Kerry Roberts is gone.
Yes.
Karen Reed is gone.
Yes.
So when the only parties left at the scene are members of the Albert family, Jen McCabe, and the Canton Police Department representatives, that's when the lights inside 34 Fairview finally came on.
Okay.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay.
And then minutes after that call, you did then speak to CPAC. To dispatch, correct?
CPAC dispatch.
Right, I was getting to that. It was a dispatch, and the dispatch was to CPAC, not to Canton PD.
Correct.
And at some point, did CPAC dispatch indicate that they were on their way, they had declined the call? What was that call all about?
So there are two separate calls.
Your Honor.
Sustained.
Who did you talk to at CPAC?
I don't recall who handled the first call at dispatch.
Okay, do you remember having a conversation with Kelly Dever?
No.
Okay.
I think we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about CPAC dispatch, not Canton Police dispatch.
Okay, fair enough. At some point, did you have a conversation with, well, let me ask it this way. I just don't know. Did you talk to both Canton Dispatch and CPAC Dispatch?
I definitely spoke to CPAC dispatch.
And, okay.
I'm not sure if I spoke to Canton dispatch or not.
All right. At some point, did you say, did you indicate to one or the other, I'm responding to 34 Fairview, we have a Boston police officer who was just found?
I stated that I was already at 34 Fairview.
You indicated that he
believe.
does have some trauma to his head area, correct?
That's correct.
And you said, quote, I'm not sure if he's been in a fight or whatever. Our medics don't believe he's going to make it,
Correct.
end quote. Sergeant Lang, you never saw John
And then
O'Keefe's
CPAC's like, okay, well, we're not coming out.
body, correct?
Correct.
So somebody disclosed to you that it appeared that he had been in a, quote, fight or whatever, at least at that point. That was your thought.
No.
And what made you say, well, you didn't say to dispatch, the victim appears to have been shot, correct?
Correct.
You didn't say it appeared he'd been stabbed.
No.
He had been strangled.
No.
You didn't say it appeared he'd been hit by a car.
Correct.
You said it appeared that he'd been in a fight or whatever, correct?
I stated that he had some trauma to his head, and I said, I don't know if he has been in a fight, and then I believe I described it as a, I don't remember my exact terminology, but it was a crazy scene.
Chaotic scene?
Possibly. I don't recall my exact words, something to that effect.
But you do recall your exact words to dispatch being, I don't know if he's been in a fight or whatever.
Correct.
Okay. I want to talk about inside the house for just a few minutes, if I could. We've talked extensively about the crime scene outside, and we'll get to that in a second, but I want to talk about what did or did not happen inside the house. Did you actually make it inside the house at some point?
Yes.
Okay. When was that? How long? Let's use Jennifer McCabe as the time frame. How long after that did you finally go inside the house, after she'd been in the house?
So it was specifically just after I got off the phone with CPAC.
So just a few minutes after we ended that video?
Yes.
And you walked you said either along the driveway or through the yard?
I believe it was up the driveway.
Okay. Once you went in the house, you made contact with the...
Yeah, so he tells CPAC that he believes that John O'Keefe was maybe in a fight. He has trauma to the head. It was a crazy scene. If he was like truly in on this, wouldn't he just say that like, oh, I believe he was hit by a car. I heard Karen Reed say, I hit him, right? And like kind of like drive towards that narrative instead of saying that like, oh, maybe he was in a fight.
Individuals in the house, correct?
Yes.
And you believed, at least at that point, that there was a potential, that there was a, let me rephrase that. You knew that you were dealing with a violent incident, correct?
No.
You thought maybe it was just a heart attack?
I didn't know what it was. At that point in time, I didn't know what it was. Could have been a multitude of things.
But what was going through your mind at that point was it could have been a fight or whatever.
I think later on he asked, like, do you think it was old age?
Trauma to his head. Those were your words.
Those were my words, yes.
Okay. So you didn't think it was like some old man who died of old age?
There we go.
Right.
Based on his age, no, I wouldn't have suspected that.
You think it was an accidental drowning or something?
Again, it could have been a multitude of things to cause those injuries. So at that point in time, we had no idea what we were looking at.
But you were aware that it had something to do with a violent incident. He had trauma to his face and he's unconscious, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did you believe that there were any indicators that Mr. O'Keefe had been involved in some sort of a physical altercation?
Possibly.
Okay.
He's not a medical examiner. He's not really an expert. No, but like, because there are two sides, right? Or two major sides. One is that like, Karen Reed did it. The other side is that, oh, everyone's in on this and people are trying to set up Karen Reed, right? But I was thinking that like, since they're trying to point like, okay, you have a relationship with the Alberts. You helped out Chris Albert 20 years ago. Hello. And now you're helping the Alberts now, 23 years later down the road. So like if he really was trying to, if he was really in on this from the very beginning, right? I feel like he would just say the same thing where it's like, oh, I don't know, like maybe he was hit by a car. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I heard Karen Reed say I hit him. But he's saying that like when he arrived at the scene, he even noticed Karen Reed. He just saw there was Carrie and there was a Jennifer McCabe and then other officers at the scene. He didn't even say he saw Karen Reed at all. So I don't know. I'm just trying to navigate through all this as we're going through the trial.
And that's because you used the phrase, "it trauma to his face and head," right?
That's what I had been told, yes.
So based on what you had been told, you knew that there was a person laying out unconscious just outside a residence that may have been involved in a
I'm
physical
saying that like he could have just told the dispatcher that just to get that narrative like out there.
altercation. That's fair.
It's a possibility, yes. Again, there were a multitude of things that were going through my head as possibilities.
But that's one of the premier possibilities, right?
I wouldn't say it's premier, it was one of the possibilities.
And it's logical to believe that if a fight had occurred, very well may have started inside the residence 30 feet away.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did you believe in your mind that it was possible, given the fact that a violent confrontation was possible in your mind, that it could have started inside the house?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach?
Yes.
I think he genuinely didn't believe that because he knew of the Alberts and he's like, there's no way they could be involved in something like this. Like, I think that's why he gave them so much leeway instead of like treating it like a straight up like police investigation where they would door knock around the neighborhood, they would go to the Albert home, maybe like take a look around. I don't know. What I also want to know is, couldn't Mr. Lawley be like, oh, hey, when you were talking to the Albert family, did you notice any bruising on them? Did you notice any cuts or scuffs or like anything on the knuckles? Like, did you notice anything? I don't know if he ever asked that. I don't think he did though. But I think what he did notice was that or was it a different guy? I think it was him. When he went inside the house, the doggo was not there to greet him. So I don't know if like the dog just normally sleeps in a crate. Is it locked up somewhere in a room? Does it not come out when like the owners are up? I don't know. Lots of questions.
They fight or whatever. Ma'am?
Sure.
Lieutenant Lang, given what you believed at the time and the possibility that there was a fight or whatever, did you logically think in your mind, your state of mind was it possibly could have started in the house?
Oh, so he got the answer? Okay, let's go.
If it had been...
Sorry. Let's see what he says.
Ma'am?
Sure.
Lieutenant Lang, given what you believed at the time and the possibility that there was a fight or whatever, did you logically think in your mind, your state of mind was it possibly could have started in the house?
If it had been of confrontation, it could have started anywhere.
Right? The house is part of anywhere, right?
Right, but was the house one of them? Was it ever in your mind that, hey, maybe I should check out this house and maybe he was beat up here or maybe something went down because he was supposed to go inside the house, blah, 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 blah. But I don't think he thought that because he was like, oh, I know these people. I'm sure that's none of that happened. They wouldn't do anything like that. Like he probably wouldn't think that they were involved in this whole grand scheme of, getting in a fight with someone and leaving them side of the front lawn.
Right?
Correct.
So in other words, the house is not excluded in your mind at that point as a starting point for the investigation. Is that right?
Well, the starting point would have been where Mr. O'Keefe had been discovered, and then based on speaking with the witnesses, there was no indication that he had ever made it into the house.
Well, you didn't know that until you
But the witness could have lied, right?
followed up on your investigation, correct?
Well, I learned that by speaking to Ms. McCabe.
So you just took Ms. McCabe's word for it.
At that point in time, that was the only person I had spoken to, and she gave me a timeline of events from that night where Mr. O'Keefe was supposed to come back to the house, but never made it.
Have you ever been, in your course of investigating cases, have you ever been lied to by a witness?
Objection, Your Honor.
Can you answer that? Have you ever been lied to by a witness?
Yes.
So it's not necessarily the best investigative technique to just take a witness's word for something, correct?
Objection.
That's sustained.
You need to actually investigate the circumstances for yourself and to your own satisfaction. Is that a fair statement?
Sure.
One of those investigative techniques would be to walk into the house and figure out who's who there, correct?
Can you rephrase the question?
Sure. One of those investigative techniques to satisfy yourself that you're actually getting to the truth of the matter would be to walk into the house and figure out who's in the house first.
I will agree that I needed to speak to the people in the home. I can't just walk in their house. I have to announce myself, and they don't have to let me in.
I understand. I'm not trying to parse those words. I just mean entering the home and interviewing witnesses. That would be a normal part of your investigation initially, correct?
Yes.
And you also knew that the most obvious place to look for witnesses that may have information about a fallen man in the snow would be 30 feet away in the home, correct?
Correct.
Because not only was he supposed to go inside that house, but they were also one of the last few people to see him because they all hung out at the bar together. They hung out at the bar together. And of course, yes, Karen Reed was like the last person to see him. But, he's not really sure of that. He doesn't know that.
So once you're inside the residence, you walked in the front door, correct?
Yes.
You indicated that there's a stair that services the second floor. Is that right?
Straight ahead, yes.
Right. Just before the staircase, there's a door to your left, right?
I don't recall.
You remember whether or not there's a door that when you open it, goes directly downstairs to the basement.
He didn't go in and look.
I don't recall.
Doesn't know.
You indicated on
Because when he responded to the scene, he probably just thought, oh, you know, this guy just like fell on ice and then just froze to death. That's probably what happened. That's why he never made it into the house.
direct examination that you didn't notice anything. I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me. You didn't notice anything out of place in the home.
No.
But you didn't go downstairs to the basement and look, did you?
No.
Didn't look for broken furniture down there.
I didn't enter the basement at all.
You didn't look for torn clothing down there.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
How about anywhere in the house? Did you look for broken furniture or torn clothing or blood evidence or DNA evidence?
At that point in time, I never made it past the front foyer area.
So the answer to my question is no, you did not.
I never made it past the front foyer area.
So if I were to ask you one more time, I know you never made it past the foyer. Did you ever investigate the foyer area or any other part of the house for evidence of a fight?
No.
The only area I was able to observe at that point, everything appeared to be in order.
But you didn't search the rest of the house for a fight. Lieutenant, that's all I'm asking.
No, I wouldn't
Now
have.
I want to know what the layout of the house is. I wonder if it's probably not open Zillow anymore. I know they sold the house, but they probably took down all the photos of the interior of the house afterwards. Maybe we could look at the Wayback Machine.
Probable cause to do so.
Anyone know when they sold the house?
And did you seek guidance from a court as to whether or not you might have probable cause?
Do you mean a search warrant?
That's what I mean.
I wouldn't fill out an affidavit for a search warrant because it wouldn't have probable cause.
In your mind, there was no PC to search that house, right?
Objection.
Let's move on from this.
One of the ways to secure a premises, any premises, a normal premises,
Oh, no way. What? They still have the listing up. Wait, let's take a look at the house. That's so cool. They have the listing up still. Usually when you buy a house, you want to remove all the pictures so people don't see a layout of your place. Okay, so this is the 34 Fairview, right? Canton, Massachusetts. Okay. House was sold in 2023. Hold on, let's look at history. All right, so it was sold in 2010. I think that's when one of the Albert sons purchased a house from his parents. They listed for sale 2022, so almost a year after John O'Keefe was found. Pending sale in February and sold in April. Holy shit, they bought the house for $500K. Jesus, lucky them. 949, sold it for 900. So this is the house. Is the flagpole still up there? This is the foyer that he was talking about, I think, with the staircase. Assuming they didn't renovate like the insides. I don't think they would. Oh, so here's the backyard. Oh, is it fenced? Here's the kitchen. Here's a bathroom, laundry room, bedrooms. Just trying to get the lay of the land. Is this the so-called basement? Oh, maybe this is the basement. There's a little gym here. Oh, giant backyard. So giant backyard, it is fenced in. Because I was wondering, maybe they let the dog out to pee in the front yard, and maybe the dog actually ran out. But if they let the dog go, holy shit, that's a huge backyard. Oh my lord. That's a giant. Oh, they have a swimming pool too. Geez, this is a huge ass backyard. Oh, we have a layout. Oh, I love this. Okay, so where police entered the home, right here. If you guys can see it. Shit, I'm trying to zoom in, but it's not zooming in. Okay, so where the police entered the home is right here where the foyer is. Foyer. And then there's a staircase that he was talking about. So that's all he saw. He saw this, the staircase. You can sort of see into the kitchen. To the right is a dining room. To the left is a study room. Now what I want to know is upstairs. Oh, the layout. So it seems like, because I wanted to know the bedrooms. Where were the bedrooms? Are they in front of the house? Would they have been able to hear Karen Reed screaming? Would they be able to see the sirens? But like, then again, maybe they were so hungover and fucked up that they just like knocked out. Maybe they have maybe they have what's it called? Those what's it called again? Those shades, those blackening shades. Because it seems like based on the layout of the house, the bedrooms are all facing the front of the house. So primary bedroom facing the house. Another bedroom facing the house. This bedroom facing the house. This bedroom. Probably not as much because you wouldn't put a bed there, but you probably put a bed back here. Yeah, very interesting. And where's the... Oh, and this is the basement. So there's a bonus room right there, and then there's an exercise room. Holy crap, there's a lot of bedrooms in here. Cool. Well, there's a Fairview house.
Investigation would be to remove the witnesses and animals from that premises to sort of freeze it, to lock it down, correct?
If there's a reason to do so, yes.
Okay. Were the witnesses in this case asked to come outside the house in order to freeze the house down as a potential crime scene?
No.
Were any animals removed in order to freeze and lock down the house as a potential crime scene?
I didn't observe any animals.
Yeah, the doggo didn't come
and this is
out.
the last question on this issue. Did you do anything to lock down and secure that premises, the inside of the house, in any way, shape, form, or fashion?
Can you rephrase that, please?
Sure. Did you do anything to lock down and secure that premises in any way, shape, form, or fashion?
No.
Did you allow witnesses to go inside the house other than Jim McCabe?
Yes.
Who's that?
I believe Matt McCabe entered the house after I had come out.
And did you seek to separate any of the witnesses or admonish them that they are not to be in each other's presence and discuss the facts of the case before you had an opportunity
Yes, they are law enforcement.
to interview them?
No.
And as you sit here, you have no idea, when you were not in their presence, you have no idea what the occupants of that house were discussing
Correct.
or what they were doing.
I have no idea what they were doing.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Given the fact that you were the first law enforcement officer inside the house, did you seek to photograph anything inside the house?
When you say I was the first law enforcement officer, I was with Sergeant Good. Both of us walked in at the same time.
That's fair. I don't mean to be vague, but you were sort of leading the discussion, correct, with the interviews?
Yes.
At least according to Sergeant Good, you were taking charge.
Sure.
As the first law enforcement officer to take charge inside the house, did you seek to photograph that?
No.
That location?
No, I did not.
Did you make any drawings or diagrams of the layout of the house?
No, I did not.
Did you know where the furniture was or was not?
I don't know what you mean.
Did you note in a diagram where furniture was? There's a dining room table here. It's got 6 chairs. There's a kitchen table over there.
No, I did not.
Did you note any document where the individuals were, the human beings were, in relation to each other when you walked in the house?
Are you asking me where I were, or did I make a
Asking
diagram?
whether or not you documented that.
No.
Had you been told at the time that you went in the house that John Keefe was found out in the yard, that there was a shoe missing, his right shoe was missing?
No.
You didn't have that information yet?
I did not.
Did you subsequently learn that?
I learned that much later after we had already cleared the area.
Tell me what much later means. Days, hours, weeks?
I honestly couldn't give an exact answer on that.
I think I know the answer to this, but you didn't do any search for any missing clothing from the victim inside the house?
I did not.
Last question on this, or last series of questions on this issue. You understand the importance of electronic devices in modern investigations, correct?
Yes.
iPads, cell phones, things of that nature.
Sure.
Because they can record things like photographs, videos, conversations, text messages.
Ooh, where's my AC on? It's cold.
Yes.
Would you consider electronic devices relatively vital in modern law enforcement investigations?
I'm sorry, violent?
Vital.
Yes.
Violent?
Yes.
They're critical items of evidence, right? It's like walking around with your entire life
Are they
in the
violent to law enforcement?
palm of your hand, correct?
Correct.
Did you seek to secure any electronic devices from any of the occupants of that house that morning?
No.
Did you ask for consent to look through their electronic devices, for instance, their cell phones, for text messages, or communications?
No.
But here's the thing. Him and the other officer, what's his name? The sergeant on the scene, Mr. Sergeant, what's his name? Sergeant, he's lieutenant. Shit, I'm getting them all mixed up. There's so many people. So many people. Was it Sergeant Gallagher? They didn't even try. They didn't even try. They didn't even ask a judge, to get like a search warrant or anything like that. They didn't even try. I'm like, what did y'all do that day? Did y'all knock on the neighbor's door? Get some answers?
Did you believe, well, turning back to a question that you were asked by Mr. Lally, you did in fact interview Brian Albert at the scene, correct?
Yes.
You also interviewed his wife.
Yes.
Did you believe at any point before you interviewed Mr. Albert that it was incumbent upon you to let your supervisors know that there may be a conflict of interest because of a personal relationship that you had with the family?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever, in fact, not whether you believed it was important, but did you ever, in fact, notify any of your superiors at Canton PD or any other?
Wait, question. Are Bengal cats, are they supposed to be hypoallergenic? Hold on, I need to use the bathroom real quick. Oh, stretch. Bengal cats are not hypoallergenic? Okay. Dennis is getting his haircut right now, and he's surrounded by cats. I'm like, are you gonna die? He was like, are they hypoallergenic? I'm like, I don't know. Can you try to rub your face into it and let me know?
Law enforcement agency, that you had a personal relationship with the Albert family or members of the Albert family?
I do not.
You indicated that you believe you spoke to Mr. Albert and his wife, Nicole Albert, for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Is that what you said?
Roughly.
Did you record that conversation?
I do not.
You have your cell phone with you, correct?
Yes.
You know that has recording capability?
Yes.
Was anybody else with Nicole? When I say with, I mean in earshot of Nicole and Brian Albert when you interviewed either one of them or both of them?
Jennifer McCabe.
So you interviewed them together?
Yes.
Did you then interview Jennifer McCabe?
I had spoken to Jennifer McCabe outside. To the best of my memory, I believe once we were inside, I was able to get some more information from her based on the chronological order of events.
And when you were getting this information about the chronological order of events, that was within earshot of Brian Albert and Nicole Albert?
Yes.
So when you interviewed
Hello, Lemon. How are you doing today?
Brian Albert, Nicole, and Jennifer McCabe were listening, correct?
Yes.
When you interviewed Nicole Albert, Brian Albert, and Jennifer McCabe were listening.
Yes.
And when you got this chronological layout of the night before from Jennifer McCabe, Brian and Nicole were both listening.
Yes.
Look at his face. He's like, man, maybe I could have done better.
After you met with the three of them and interviewed them, you indicated that you came back. You'd already left, you came back. I'm jumping ahead.
Huh? Yes, they are. This guy does not look hypoallergenic. I don't know. He looks fuzzy and he looks like, oh my God, he's so cute though. He looks so allergy. What are Bengal cats, by the way? Is it just like a special breed of cats that just look really cool? It looks like a fucking lion. It's so cute. Looks like a little lion dude. Or are they like Frenchies where people just like love to breed them because you make a lot of money or something? You're making an experimental meal? Oh boy, what are you making? That sounds scary. When you guys were a kid, have you guys ever made dirt soup? Like when I was a kid, you would find like a hole and then you would do dirt, cut up the leaves, you know, get the twigs, mix it all up. I think they just have like less dander, than regular cats. Yes, mud pies, yes. Bengal cats are a unique hypoallergenic breed. Their gorgeous spotted short coat comes from the Asian leopard cat ancestors, giving them a wild appearance and makes them stand out. I see. They're cute, but I would be too paranoid that someone would like try to rob me because of my cool-looking cat, I guess.
A little bit, so forgive me. When you came back, it was around 9 a.m.?
But these energetic, intelligent cats can be a handful for the unsuspecting pet parent. And some cities have regulations or full-on bans. And wait, really? Why? What? Bengal cats also have a breed-specific cat food. Talk to your veterinarian if it's a good fit. Wait, what? Why? Some cities ban them? Your dog is hyperallergenic? Is your dog a Shih Tzu or something? What kind of dog is it?
No. I came back just moments later.
Had you actually left? I may be a bit confused, so I apologize. Had you actually left and driven back to Canton PD?
No.
Okay, so you just came back in the house?
When Mr. McCabe entered the house?
No, I'm so sorry.
They're part leopard. Oh, they're so cute. There's a streamer that I watch. He has a Bengal cat. Seems chill.
I'm jumping ahead, so that's unfair. You left. Now we're at the point where you've already cleared the crime scene.
Okay.
And then at some point you get called back.
Yes.
Because Ms. McCabe said she had additional information she wanted to impart.
Yes.
And what was the additional information she told you? I want to know.
When you interviewed Ms. McCabe that second time, were Brian and Nicole Albert there?
Yes.
Were they within earshot?
Yes.
And they listened to that conversation as well?
Yes.
Everyone was listening on everyone's conversation. What a great interview this was.
After that conversation, did you meet with any other witnesses between February 29th, later in the day, January 29th, any time until February 4th?
No.
None.
Wait, was Jen McCabe, sorry, I missed it. Was Jen McCabe's husband here by that time? He should have been, right?
I do want to talk for a second, just a brief second, about setting up a crime scene outdoors. You indicated that the crime scene was relatively secure, was your word. It was relatively secure because there were patrol cars or cruisers sort of around the perimeter of the yard. Is that right?
That's correct.
Crime scene tape wasn't working because it was windy?
Crime scene tape was up, but it was being blown all over the place.
Okay. And of course, Canton PD has the ability to go get stakes and just hammer some stakes into the dirt if you wish to.
A kava poo. Poo? Okay. Like a poodle. What's a kava? What is kava from?
No.
You don't have stakes at Canton PD?
No,
we eat steaks. You eat S-T-A-K-E-S.
I know what a steak is. No, we don't.
Not S-T-E-A-K, the one that you eat with A1 sauce.
Have any.
Canton PD doesn't have those.
No.
So if crime scene tape was blown down, that was just sort of a let's give up on it. Wouldn't do it any good.
No.
In your mind,
There's no such thing as like a hyperallergenic cat, but certain breeds might have a better fit for some people who sneeze and itch around kitties. While all cats produce allergens in their fur, saliva, urine, some breeds produce lower levels of proteins that trigger allergies. Yeah, I don't know. How can we test a King Charles Cavalier? Oh, big dogs,
futile.
right?
The crime scene tape was futile, yes. It was left up until we made the determination to take it down, but it wasn't really doing its job.
All right. And once the scene was cleared, all those cruisers that were protecting that crime scene were now gone, right?
Yes.
And all the cruisers were gone by about 7:50 in the morning, 7:50, 7:55.
Yes.
So before 8 a.m., that crime scene was completely open. I'm sorry, after 8 a.m., that crime scene was completely open.
Yes.
Unsecured
Yes.
and available to anybody who wanted access to it.
Correct.
It looks like a mini gold.
One of the reasons to secure a crime scene is to minimize the possibility of evidence destruction on one hand, correct?
Yes.
And evidence tampering on the other hand, right?
Sure.
And examples of evidence tampering could be just moving a piece of evidence.
Objection, Your Honor.
That's overruled. Just not too much further with this, though.
I've just got a couple of quick questions about this.
Could you repeat that, please?
Sure. An example, or a couple of examples of evidence tampering could be something as simple as moving a piece of evidence, moving it from here to here, correct?
That would be tampering, yes.
Hiding evidence, getting rid of it, right?
Yes.
My friend told me ragdolls, they're sort of hyperallergenic, right? Or was it no Siamese cat? Someone said Siamese cat. The corgi cat. I want a cat so bad, but Dennis is allergic. I wish I could get a cat. I want to get a cat. I want a cat. I want to get it so bad. Steve was like very cat-like because I feel like if I get another dog, he's gonna be. I don't know. I want a dog like Steve, you know. But Steve is like more like a cat. So I think if I got a cat, they'll be more Steve-like. Then I could name him Steve the cat.
Taking evidence out of the scene or putting evidence back into the scene, correct?
Yes.
Or even planting evidence that didn't exist before. All of those would be examples of tampering with evidence.
Yes.
And setting up a proper crime scene minimizes or eliminates the possibility for that.
Setting up a crime scene would could you say that again, please?
Sure. Setting up a proper crime scene, securing a proper crime scene minimizes or tries to eliminate the possibility of that type of evidence tampering. Obviously.
It would, but at this point in time, we weren't aware. At this point in time, state police said they weren't responding, so there was no longer.
Did you guys try calling state police again once John O'Keefe was officially pronounced dead? Like, hey, John O'Keefe is dead. Like, can y'all, for real, do your job and get over here, please?
An area to preserve at that point.
So in your mind, well, let me phrase it a different way. What that means is after 8 a.m., that scene was just open.
It was.
You found both the blood that we saw pictures of and the cocktail glass that we were just introduced to this morning, correct?
Yes.
You searched the area that was adjacent to where you believed.
Because couldn't they shovel the snow and then like sift through it to see if there's anything else in the snow?
The body was. Is that right?
We searched, I would say, about a 6x6 or 7x7 area.
6x6 or 7x7?
Roughly. 6 feet on each side.
Right. You were looking for obviously anything that was out of place, anything that didn't belong.
Yes.
Like a man's size 12 shoe would have caught your attention.
It would.
A black baseball cap would have caught your attention.
It would.
Piece of plastic broken probably would have caught your attention.
Yes.
Certainly 45 pieces of plastic would have caught your attention.
Yes.
And between you and Officer Seraph, Sergeant Good, Officer Mulaney, Lieutenant Gallagher, none of that was found.
No, the only things we found were the things that were documented.
You did find the blood, however. Is that right?
Yes.
Who literally physically leaned down and scooped that blood up?
Me.
And that was done in a plastic solo cup that we've heard a little bit about.
Yes. Yes.
You're aware that those solo cups are unsealed?
I believe Lieutenant Gallagher got them out of a sealed package.
When I say unsealed, I mean they don't have a lid on them. They're not airtight containers.
Correct.
So once you scoop up the snow and the dirt and the debris and the grass and everything else along with the blood, they're just open to the air.
Yeah, there was snow and blood. There was no dirt and debris in the glass that I can recall.
You're sure about that? There's no dirt and snow?
I didn't observe any, no.
You didn't observe any dirt and snow? You don't think there's dirt and snow?
I didn't observe any dirt in the glass. Excuse me, the cup.
Okay. Certainly wasn't a sterile cup.
No.
Certainly wasn't a crime scene cup.
So they never found the shoe and they never found the black cap?
No.
You're aware that the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab warns against collecting any biological material in anything made of plastic, correct? Are you aware of that?
No.
When you scooped up the blood.
Because I was thinking maybe the black cap, it was really windy that day. Maybe it blew away somewhere. The shoe, though? Where the fuck is the shoe?
Did you videotape that process so we know exactly which bloodstaining was?
What's a Siberian? I know what a Siamese is. Bengal number 3, Russian blue, Sphinx, Devon Rex, Cornish Rex, Havanese, Balinese, Oriental Shorthair, and Burmese. What's a Siberian cat? Sorry, I'm so invested in this cat talk. Oh, Siberian cat. Oh, it's so cute. I can't. Oh my god. Oh my god. I want one. It's so fluffy. So adorable. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, sorry. Back to the trolls now. The perms too. La perms. They're silly. Oh, they're so cute. There's this cat that I really wanted because I love things that are short and stumpy. I forgot what it's called. It's like a munchkin cat or something, but I heard they were like technically like abominations because people breed for that trait and it's actually unhealthy for them to be that short and stumpy and like stuff like that. But they look so cute. They look like a little corgi, but a cat.
Stuff from where?
I don't recall if it was videotaped, but we did not document which scoop went in which cup.
Okay. So if there was multiple contributors to blood, multiple contributors of the blood, we'd sort of have no idea which blood drop belonged to whom, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Once these unsealed cups were in your possession, what did you do with them?
The cups were placed into the Toyota Tundra that I was driving that day and ultimately returned back to the police station.
Okay, and you talked a little bit about the process once you returned back to the station. They were put in a brown evidence bag, correct?
Yes.
And ultimately, when you log these items into...
My friend has a rag doll, and that shit is huge. Like, it's a big-ass cat. It looks like a dog. It's like the same size as Shiro, okay? Shiro's like 35 pounds. They look like they're the same size.
Tell me the name of it again. It's temporary evidence?
Temporary, excuse me, the blood was put in temporary evidence refrigerator.
Okay, inside the evidence bag. Cups are still inside the evidence bag.
Evidence bag.
And it's logged in.
I don't recall that. I'm not sure if I took them out or not. I don't recall.
You indicated that there's an item number or property number that's assigned to them.
Yes.
There's generated a seal or a label to go on the evidence that's being stored, correct?
It should, yes.
And the bag is sealed. The evidence bag is sealed like this red tape that we see on this thing, correct?
When possible, there are certain items that can't be bagged. And then
Because they're so fucking cute. There's this Twitch streamer that got a munchkin cat. Because I didn't know what a munchkin cat was. And I saw it and I was like, wait, why does it look like a fucking corgi? Oh my god, it's so cute. But yeah, I heard that people are... they breed for that trait and it's not really necessarily good for it. Same thing with... you guys ever heard of like a blue merle corgi? They're really pretty. They're really cool. They have like blue eyes. They have like that gray fur, whatever. But apparently, if you breed them incorrectly, they can come out blind, deaf, and like all types of like fucking issues. Blue merle corgis, and you always see them on Facebook because people are trying to fucking sell them. But these guys, they're just like really pretty dogs. But if you breed them incorrectly, like I think you're not supposed to breed 2 blue merles together and they have to be cardigans, not Pembrokes or something like that. They can be blind, deaf, and like have all sorts of like fucking issues. So sad. Oh my god. Corgis!
and sometimes you create a tag.
Keezy, I had a Maine Coon a few years ago. It was fat as shit. Wait. Oh my god, it's so cute. The ears. I'm not paying $3,000 though. Fuck that. $3,000. No. So cute. So cute. So cute. I mean, Petco, they have a lot of cats up for adoption, but I don't know what kind of cats those are. It's not like I can get one anyways, though.
And attach it to a tag.
Right, but if it's a
Yeah, a lot of issues with munchkins. They have serious medical issues. Poor little munchkins. Poor little munchkins.
brown paper bag that's an evidence bag, you certainly just fold over the edge of it and just put a red evidence seal on it to make sure that that's secure and not tampered with, correct?
That would be one way to do it, yes. I don't recall if I left them in the bag or took them out of the bag. I don't recall.
If you left them in the bag, you likely would have, if you're booking them into evidence, you likely would have used some red crime scene, not crime scene, evidence tape.
If I had left them in the bag, I would have put them.
I'm going to be very honest, though. Cats, they all look almost the same to me. So I don't care if, like, cats adopt possible because they all look the same to me and they're all really fucking cute. But for adopting corgis, there's, like, no such thing. No one puts corgis up for adoption. You just don't see corgis up for adoption. Anytime you see a corgi up for adoption, boom, it gets snatched so quickly. But I don't know if I want another corgi. Do I want another corgi? I don't know. I love corgis. Oh, corgis are the best. They're so cute.
Property label right on the bag.
So everybody can see it?
Yes.
Okay, there's an evidence bag with important evidence in it. Don't mess with it. It's secure, correct?
Yes.
So we have tab 23.
The hell is that? Oh, like a chicken. Peacock!
Do you recognize what's depicted in this exhibit?
I believe it's Miss Reed's vehicle.
Yeah, every time when I go to Petco, they always have so many cats there. There's so many of them. They're so cute.
For the record, you're looking at what's been previously marked as exhibit 37. You see a little white rag down there by the right rear quarter panel?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to tab 24.
The rag again. Dun, dun, dun. The rag in the bag.
You see that white rag?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
You see a bag sitting next to it?
I do.
Doesn't look like an evidence bag, does it?
No, it looks like a Stop and Shop bag.
Stop and
But
Shop.
actually, it looks like an evidence bag. It just doesn't say Canton Police on it. It says Stop and Shop, but it does look like an evidence bag. It's the same thing.
That's a grocery bag.
It is. And that's exactly what our evidence bags look like, so that's what I thought it was at first.
Right, except it doesn't say anything about evidence on it. It says Stop and Shop, correct?
Correct.
What do you think's in that evidence bag? I'm sorry, Stop and Shop bag.
I'm not sure.
No, it's true. Corgis, they have a lot of issues. But you know, with corgis, the issues that I've had with them so far, allergies, sensitivity, stomach, stuff like that, which I can deal with. I don't mind all that. But the real issue with fucking corgis is that they just want to kill themselves. It's like they want to eat everything off the ground. They just want to get sick. They just, I don't know. And they're so close to the ground. It's really hard for me to avoid them eating shit off the ground because they're just so close. You know, with dogs that are taller, they have to like bend over and then like eat it, right? But corgis are already short to the ground. They can just and just fucking eat everything. And they just want to kill themselves. Like, I don't know, man. They just want to rack up the medical bills, man.
When these pictures were taken?
I could tell that it's the Canton Police.
Wait, what? I have a tiny Persian and Siberian Husky. Both are adopted from Egypt. They're amazing and hilarious. I heard in Egypt, you can't adopt children. You can sponsor children, but you can't adopt them and change their last name to your last name. I don't know, it's like a whole random thing that I found out when I was doing a true crime thing.
Police Sallyport, so it's at some point after the state police had seized the vehicle.
And at some point after you had brought the solo cuffs back to the station.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, these were taken on February 1st when the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab finally took possession of these items of evidence, correct?
I was not in the police station for those 2 days.
Let's look at the next tab.
Yeah, it seems like they took the red cups, put it in the brown paper bag, they put it in like a temporary refrigerator thing, and then finally the state police came by to pick up the evidence and to process it, and that's where they were taking the pictures of it on the ground. But they're just saying, they're like, oh, you know, this doesn't look like it was like sealed. It was just like in red cups. It's just chilling there.
Tab 25. You recognize that?
It appears to be solo cups.
Yeah, okay. You know that there's this I did a true crime story time about what's her fucking name? Rebecca. Shit, why is her last name not coming to my mind? Rebecca. It's the woman who is like a socialite in LA. She's like in her 50s. She was like driving, like under influence. She was like racing her boyfriend, and she struck and hit 2 children. And their family is actually from Egypt. And so I went to their website, and they have like some sort of like a fundraiser thing where you can donate money, and the money goes towards like different, like you can like donate money for like children in Egypt or like orphanage and stuff like that. And they wrote in there that in Egypt it's illegal to adopt children. You actually cannot adopt children. You can't adopt them. You can't like change their last name to yours or like convert to religion, I think. Or am I mixing up 2 different things? So I think we were talking about this with you guys a couple weeks ago. But it's illegal to adopt children in Egypt, but you can sponsor them.
With substance inside?
Are those just any solo cups, or the solo cups that you took back to the station from 34 Fairview?
I mean, I couldn't say definitively, but it certainly looks like it.
It appears that they have red liquid material floating in the bottom.
Yes.
Appear to be blood.
The top 3 I can see. Yeah, the only 2 I see that don't have it are the bottom 2 left.
Okay, let's look at the next tab, which is 26. And you see somebody with gloved hands opening that bag? Same bag, little white rag right there?
I do.
Okay, that appear to be the same 6 solo cups?
That you just showed me in the previous slide?
Yes.
Yes.
So are those the same 6 solo cups that you gathered at the scene at 34 Fairview and ultimately brought back to Canton PD?
They certainly appear like they are, but I can't say definitively, but they appear to be.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your words. Go ahead.
Wait, hold on. Let me see if I could find the website. Let me see. Oh, this is where I saw it initially. So this is the 2 children that was struck by the vehicle and they died almost immediately. Our mission, was it in here? Oh, yeah. In Egypt, where the Iskander family is from, adoption is illegal. Children without family to take care of them are left with no choice but to live in orphanages. So that's why I was like, wait, what? That's crazy. I've never heard that before. But apparently you can sponsor them. Like you could sponsor them, like, you know, take them in to live with you and all that stuff, but it's not considered like adoption. And you can't change their religion. You can't change their last name. I don't know. It's wild. And of course, if you're like same-sex couple, can't adopt, or can't sponsor them. But yeah, I don't know. Like just interesting tidbit of information that I didn't know about.
They appear to be the same solo cops, but I couldn't say definitively.
Let's go back to tab 24. And the reason you can't say definitively, Lieutenant, is because there is no label on this bag, is there?
Not on that side of it, no.
There is no property number on this bag, is there?
Not on the side that's visible to me, no.
There's no evidence tape on this bag, is there?
Not on the side that's visible to me, no.
Well, let's look at the other photographs. Well, before we do that, are you suggesting that all of that material is on the other side of this bag?
I don't know. I'm not suggesting anything.
Do
I'm
we have a
telling you.
picture of the other side of the bag?
I don't know.
Okay, let's look at the next tab. Looking at it from the top, does it appear anywhere from that vantage point that there's evidence tape that's ever been put on that bag? That
You
has
can't see from this angle.
ever been secured?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Well, one of the ways that you can tell that evidence tape has been put on an item is because when the evidence tape is placed on it, it's completely sealed. And if, in fact, that seal is ever broken, it's not torn off, it's cut, and there's initials put on, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Have you ever used evidence tape before? To seal anything?
I'm sure I have. I don't recall off the top of my head.
How long have you been a detective? I'm sorry, how long were you a detective when you were a detective?
I was a detective for 11 months as a sergeant, and then I was a detective for 15 months back in 2011-12.
And in your experience, and how long have you been a police officer?
Over 24 years.
So in your 24 years of experience and over a year as a detective, you can't remember if you've ever used evidence sealing tape?
As I said, I'm sure I have. I just can't recall one off the top of my head.
If you recall using it at all, isn't the protocol that when evidence sealing tape is used to seal an item of evidence, when it's removed, it's not torn off, it's cut, and then new sealing tape is put over it with an initial and a date, correct?
Objection.
Do you know the answer to that?
I don't.
Okay,
Yeah, it
next
seems
question.
like they didn't put the evidence sealing tape on there. They just probably folded the paper bag in half and then just put it in the refrigerator.
Thank you. That's all I have for this.
Okay, I'm going to see counsel at sidebar for just a minute, please. Sure.
I think her lawyers are very effective. They're doing really good at their job. Okay, how long is the sidebar? They're very sneaky too. Like they know how to push the limit and then kind of just like end it there.
Jim.
Well, he's making the point that there's no evidence tape. It could have probably been tampered with. That's why they were asking about who has access to where the evidence is stored, where the evidence is stored. Is she guilty, though? We don't know. We're only on day 6. There's so much more that we need to get through before we even determine that.
Paul, we're bringing them over? Yes, please.
That's why I really want to know the timeline of when they found out that John O'Keefe was officially declared dead. Could they have not just called back the state police and just be like, oh, hey, he is declared dead now. Now y'all can come process this, please, because we don't have the tools and equipment to do this. But we don't have the timeline, and we don't really know. Hi, Nataku.
Please, please.
Or just have rats eat all the evidence like New Orleans. I think it was too cold for the rats to come out that day. I don't know. Maybe they got mountain lions or something in Massachusetts.
All right, Mr. Jackson, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh yeah, it seems like they said that he had already went into cardiac arrest, which meant that there was no electrical signal or something like that, like from the heart beating and blah blah blah. It seems like he was already dead for sure, but he wasn't officially declared dead because they were still working on him. It wasn't until he got to the hospital they declared him dead. But I just want to know, was he declared dead and then it just took a while for that to be relayed to law enforcement, and that's why they never called the state police to come back, and that's why they never called state police and tell them the update of like, hey, he's dead, please come here and process his shit. Like, this is your job.
That's all I have at this time.
Okay. Mr. Lally?
Mr. Lally, 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 lally.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just briefly, sir, with regard to incident you were asked about from August of 2002, you explain in your own words what happened.
So I had left the establishment, Centerfield is what it was called at the time, and the owner had asked me if I could drive a patron home who had too much to drink, so I obliged. Walked across the street to the parking lot, got in my truck
I'm going to skip through this because we already went through it. Or I'm going to fast forward through it because we already went through it.
with the patron, and as I was pulling out, that's when Mr. Albert approached my truck and told me how he had been in an altercation earlier in the evening with Mark Lopalato, and that Mark had made threats towards him and his family, that he was going to harm his family. They had a young child at the time. Mr. Albert was concerned and asking me what he should do. Excuse me. As I was telling him what I think he should do,
The young child was probably at home with a babysitter or something, right?
he said something to the effect of, "Oh no, here they come." And I observed multiple men walking down the sidewalk in our direction. At this point, I got out of my truck, approached the group, and pleaded with them. I said, "Guys, not tonight. He's by himself. He's with his wife, girlfriend. There's not going to be a fight tonight." And I did my best to defuse the situation, but they weren't having it. They made several attempts to push past me. Ultimately, a wrestling match ensued. Mr. Lopalato at one point said, "I know who you are. I don't give a fuck," and asked me what I was going to do about it. A wrestling match ensued. I was punched. And at that point, I defended myself and did engage in a physical altercation with Mark.
Now, you were asked about sort of timing of reports. You didn't write a report until a couple days later, is that correct?
That's correct.
Why was it?
I had spoken to the shift supervisor that night, and I asked him if he wanted me to return and generate a report at that point, and he advised me that I could do it the next time I was at work, which was a couple of days later.
And as far as the police responding to that parking lot that night, how were they notified from them?
I had yelled across the street when the group was trying
Schmidt, you know where else has a lot of rats? Apparently, there's a lot of fucking rats in Disneyland.
to push its way past me. I yelled across the street to the bartender and the owner had made their way, excuse me, out onto the sidewalk street area. I yelled across the street, and I said, call the police, and they ultimately called 911.
Now, what, if any, relevance or factor did any of that have in your minds in regard to your response and interviews or anything that you did on January 29th, 2022?
Absolutely nothing.
And in fact, that involved Christopher Albert in 2002, correct?
Yes, it did.
And you were at Brian Albert's residence in 2020, correct?
Correct.
And just to be clear, just because their last name is Albert, they're separate people. You have separate relationships with each of those persons, correct?
Correct.
Now, you grew up in the town, you work in the town.
What's a cavoodle? Cavoodle? What is that?
Let's say you go to calls regarding people that you know,
Yes.
whether that be witnesses, people that you arrest, any of the.
Oh, you're talking about Cavapoo?
Correct.
Correct.
Now, with regard to the questions that you were asked about Mr. O'Keefe, just to be clear, you never laid eyes on Mr. O'Keefe's body at any point in time on January 29th or thereafter, correct?
No, I didn't.
You were asked some questions about, on the cruiser cam video, whether you were on the phone. You indicated that you could make an educated guess as to who you were on the phone with. Who would that be?
Lieutenant Gallagher.
And so at the time that you're on the phone from that video, Lieutenant Gallagher was not on scene yet, correct?
Correct.
Now, with respect to the weather on that day, talk a bit about sort of weather as you were on scene. During the time that you were on scene, did it essentially persist in the same manner?
Yes.
And then later on that day, what, if any, change occurred with regard to the weather?
As I recall, while we were there, it stayed the same. If anything, it might have gotten even worse.
And from your memory of that day, did that continue throughout the course of the day while you were working?
Yes.
Now, with regard to in out of the house at 34 Fairview Road, each of those occasions, if you could, with respect to
I wonder how hot and stuffy this courtroom is, and it's like so tiny and small. There's so many people in there.
the 3 occasions that you went inside the house to speak to people, where were those people within the house?
The first time I went in, Brian Albert and Nicole Albert were located, I believe, on the stairs or sitting possibly at some point on the stairs. Jen McCabe was to my right. The second time I went back.
So here's the view, guys. I have the view right here. He came in. There's a staircase right there. Actually, hold on. This would have been the front door, I think. The front door is over here. Sorry, can you see this? This is the front door, and then this is one of the living rooms, and then here's the staircase up there. So he was standing right around here.
back in, excuse me, was also through the front door, and it was the same positioning, except this time Matt McCabe was present, and Matt was also to my right.
And then on the third occasion, when yourself and Lieutenant Gallagher came back to speak to Mr. McCabe further?
We went in through the door to the right, so it's to the right of the main door. We went in through that door and stayed in like the dining kitchen area, and that's where I spoke.
I got pictures. Dining kitchen area. Hold up. Dining kitchen right here. Dining kitchen area right here. Not this one. Dining kitchen area. This is where they were.
With Jennifer.
And that third time that you went back and you spoke with Jennifer, where was Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Matthew McCabe, any of those parties that were there before? If you know.
They were present. I actually don't recall if Matthew McCabe was there the third time. Brian and Nicole were definitely there. I believe they were in the general vicinity, but I couldn't tell you exactly where they were.
Wait, the third time, is this the same day or?
And same thing when you went back on that third occasion. What, if anything, did you note as far as the interior of the house? Anything askew? Anything out of place?
No, everything looked to be in order.
Nice and clean and tidy.
Nothing further.
Were there any pots in the refrigerator? Were there any pots on the stove? Were there any clothes laid out on the floor?
May we approach very briefly?
Yes.
Sorry, Murdoch brain. I think that's it for the day.
By the Lolita brothers, correct?
Yes.
The fact is, they were never convicted of anything having to do with this case, the case that you described. Is that true?
Correct.
You also indicated that they made either a threatening comment to you or a disparaging comment to you about, I don't give a fuck, correct?
Correct.
Is it true that what was actually said was you said to them, I don't know who you are, but I'm going to make your life miserable?
No.
All of this incident was in furtherance of you protecting a member of the Albert family when they asked for your help, correct?
No, it was me protecting someone who asked for my help who was clearly in fear.
Who happened to be an Albert.
Happened to be an Albert.
Thank you.
All right, you are all set. Lieutenant, you're all set, sir.
Let's thank God that's done and over with. I've learned so much from this experience.
try and get some testimony from one more witness.
Yes.
And jurors, we will break right.
Wait, who's this?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
New witness.
Would you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
Charles Ray, R-A-E.
And how are you employed, sir?
I work for the Canton Police Department.
And how long have you been a member of the Canton Police?
Approximately 25 years.
And what rank or assignment do you currently have
Law
with the Canton
enforcement.
Police?
I'm a lieutenant.
And how long have you had the rank of lieutenant with the Canton Police?
I've been a lieutenant for about 9 years.
And what, if any, sort of specialized duties or assignments do you have within the Canton Police Department?
Day-to-day, we patrol shift commander. Some ancillary duties include overseeing the Family Services Unit, which includes juvenile services, school resource officers, sexual assault investigations, and special populations.
And if I could turn your attention to January 29th, 2022, were you working that day?
I came in to work the day shift at about 7:30 a.m.
And what is the day shift of the Canton Police?
7:45 a.m. to 3:45 p.m.
And when you arrived that day at the department, what if anything was sort of going on in the department that day when you arrived?
Well, it was a well forecasted snowstorm. It
Who's
was
this guy? I don't think I remember hearing his name ever. Lieutenant Ray?
in the early stages. So when I came in, there was a lot of, as there usually is a shift change, a lot of comings and goings, people leaving the shift, people coming out of the shift. And it was a busy dispatch area at that time.
At some point after you arrived at work, you made aware of the call that your department had dispatched to shortly after 6 a.m. on that day.
Correct.
And just in general terms, what was it that you learned about that call?
The outgoing shift sergeant, when he returned, usually there's a roll call. I believe that day, I don't recall there being a roll call, but there was an exchange of information, as there typically is,
I'm going to slow it down when he gets to the scene.
in the dispatch area. And I was advised that there was an unresponsive man found in the snow on Fairview Road.
And that outgoing shift supervisor was who?
Sergeant Shunded.
And what, if any, information were you given as far as the unresponsive man?
That he was a Boston police officer. And he was found at 34 Fairview Road.
Yes, at some point, did you learn what his name was?
Yes, Mr.
And who did you learn?
Mr. John O'Keefe.
And were you familiar with Mr. O'Keefe?
I never met him before, no.
At some point, did you become aware of where he lived?
Yes.
And from what you had learned from Sergeant Pruitt, in addition to Mr. O'Keefe being transported from the scene to the hospital, who, if anyone else, was transported from the scene to the hospital?
I was advised that his girlfriend was on the scene as well, and she was subsequently transported to Good Samaritan Hospital, the same hospital that Mr. O'Keefe was transported to.
And at some point over the course of that morning, did you become aware of any children that Mr. O'Keefe was responsible for as far as legal guardianship?
Yes, I was made aware that he was the guardian of two young children that may or may not be at the house at that time unattended, given the fact that both he and his girlfriend were.
Hello!
Corgi, you're alive.
You expect me to be dead? Why? Did you hire someone to kill me or something? Hello, Palermo. Thank you so much for the resub for 31 months. I appreciate your support. How are you? Thanks for using your Prime on me.
Were transported.
based on that information, what, if anything, did you decide?
I'm not sure if it was a suggestion of the former chief or if it was just something that organically developed, but it seemed like the right thing to do a well-being check on the children at One Meadows Ave, which was Mr. O'Keefe's residence.
Oh,
And just with respect to the former chief specifically, who are you talking about?
Ken Berkowitz.
And a well-being check, if you could describe to the jury, sort of what is involved in that and what does it entail as it applies to this situation?
As it applies to this situation, we believe that there may be 2 young unattended children, and knowing that both Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Reed wouldn't be returning to the house anytime soon, we wanted to check on them so that if they woke up and wondered where everybody was and need some assistance, that perhaps we could
Oh, where are the children now?
provide that and help locate other loved ones or
Another aunt and
bring them to the police station if we had to, just to kind of provide some sort of comforting presence.
And within the Canton Police Department, is there a specific cruiser that's allocated for sort of the shift supervisor?
Yes, 682.
And is that the cruiser that you used to go to One Meadows Ave?
We did.
And when you say we, who, if anyone, went with?
Sergeant Lehan and he was the incoming sergeant.
And what, if any, role does Sergeant Lehan have with regard to the department? Specific role?
Now he's a detective sergeant and prosecutor. At that time, he was a shift sergeant.
And so the 682 cruiser that you were driving, are you aware that that has a cruiser camera fixed to it?
Correct.
Have you had occasion to review that footage from that particular cruiser on that particular morning?
I have now, yes.
Your Honor, if I could ask to publish for the jury a portion of Exhibit 41, if you could. You recognize what that is?
That'd be the interior of Sallyport Door 3, which is where the 682 would have been parked.
And then from there is where you drove from that position to One Meadows Ave, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Gilman, if you could just run forward.
Oh, is dash cam footage? You can see the snow, very white. It's 8 a.m. in the morning, a lot brighter now.
Gilman, if you could pause it there. And Ms. Gilman, if you could, I'd ask you to fast forward to about 2 hours. Lieutenant, do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that to be?
One Meadows Ave.
And sort of toward the middle of the screen, is that sort of a front door to the home? Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
The door that you went to, is that door or did you go to a different door? If you know.
I don't remember which door we went to.
Now, with respect to this home, had you ever been there before?
No.
Subsequent to this, did you come to learn also that residents of One Meadows Ave had cameras of its own?
Yes.
Have you seen camera footage from both the driveway and the front door from the residents from that morning when you were there?
Yes.
Now, as far as a well-being check, if you could just sort of physically describe to the jury, what is it that you're doing with regard to a well-being check when you come to a house like this?
We're going to check to see if there's anybody there, which is typically the case. And we're going to go knock on doors and see if there's any activity of anybody at the home.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could hit play. At One Meadows Ave, is that correct?
Yes.
And there's a vehicle directly in front of you, correct?
Correct.
And at the time, you were not aware of the particulars of the incident that occurred earlier in the morning, correct?
Correct.
And fair to say from what's depicted up on the screen was that essentially what the driveway looked like at that time when you came in there at approximately 8:23 in the morning, correct?
Yes.
And as far as when you went to knock on the door, are you just knocking on the front door and then no one answers and that's it? Or you look around the house, what is it that you do on a well-being check?
You would go to the front door or the door that you think everyone would use in whatever the situation was. You take a cursory glance around to see if there's any reason to check anywhere else. In this case, it's a fenced backyard, so I'm not going to be going back there. Because if in this case, we weren't looking for someone that might be a dead body. We were looking for 2 children that would be up and active.
Now, as far as that vehicle that's parked in the driveway in front of you, did you have any reason to look at it, inspect it, or anything like that at this point that you're at the house?
No.
And as far as any condition of it, specifically the right rear passenger side, you didn't have any occasion to go inspecting that or looking at it at that point, correct?
Correct.
Is it Karen's car?
Now, as far as from this video, the condition of the right rear passenger side, the condition vis-a-vis the left rear passenger side, that's how it appeared in the driveway when you pulled up, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Gilman, if you could hit play.
It's black. It's big. Can't see the taillight. The snow looks undisturbed, so maybe that's not it.
You can pause right there, Mr. So the individual just sort of walked across the front of the cruiser. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And who was that?
That's me.
Your Honor, I'm not sure how. Maybe we approach.
Okay. Lieutenant, we're going to need you back tomorrow. We're going to break you today.
Oh, they're ending the court day.
Precautions, please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it. Let us know. We'll see you tomorrow morning. So report at
Disregard
8:30.
Sure, you got to get over on your kids and taking all your items. You all right? Sure, it's all good.
How old is Karen Reed now? How old is Karen Reed? Mid-40s? 45 years old. She was 45 in 2022.
Yes.
She's 47 now?
No, that's it for today. We're good. Thank you. You don't need me for anything, right?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
All right, please.
All right, y'all. That's it for the Karen Reed trial. Just law enforcement on law enforcement on law enforcement on law enforcement. Lots of law enforcement that we're hearing from. Oh, gosh. I can't wait till we get to the pathologists. I don't know. Maybe like the ER docs, the people that worked on him, the people that were in the house, the Alberts family. There's so many people that I can't wait for us to get to. Oh, boy. Okay, so tomorrow it's going to be Wednesday. It's a full court day. Not quite sure what we're going to do tomorrow. Long court days are tough, man. It's like, it's a long shift. Maybe what I'll start doing, because before what I would do is I would listen to the trial stuff on my own, and then I do timestamps of where that is important. But I don't know, this whole thing has been pretty important so far, especially with law enforcement testimony. I don't want to jump back and forth, but we'll see. Do we know the cause of death? Exactly. For me, I don't know for sure. I don't know. It seems like cardiac arrest. Maybe he froze to death. He was bleeding. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I do not know. We'll have to wait until we get to the forensic pathologist, because I have a lot of pictures. I have a lot of questions about some of the pictures of the wounds and all that. Maybe they can explain it to us a little bit better. But yeah, I don't know. Lots of questions. I don't have any answers for you guys. I'm just going through this case as if we're joining the trial from last week. All right, y'all. Well, if you guys missed it earlier, we did go over Paige Hannah's new video that she posted a couple days ago. I didn't go over it when she posted it that day because I was still packing for Mexico, and I was like, nah, we're going to do true crime stuff when I come back. I'm just going to take a break. But did I really take a break when I was in Mexico? No, because I caught up with the Karen Reed trial, all 4 days of it. But anyways, if you guys missed it earlier, we did react to Paige Hannah's video. This is her second video that she posted in regards to her connections with Jodi Hildebrandt, how she introduced Jodi to Ruby Franke and Kevin Franke. And I think she's going to post another video sometime in the next couple weeks where she talks about Jodi Hildebrandt living in her house and how this friendship was severed between her and Ruby Franke. So I'm very interested in hearing all about that. But if there's anything else you guys want me to cover, feel free to post it in the True Crime Discord. Feel free to join the Discord. We have a True Crime section, as well as other sections as well. If you don't want to do True Crime stuff, which is totally fine. You can chat about other things, pets, food, memes, whatever. Miss Mendez, how are you? Have you been well? That's exactly what the crime scene from Kevin McAllister will look like. It does look like the Kevin McAllister house, doesn't it? Oh, man. Oh, what lies? I don't know. I haven't seen any of Karen Reed's interviews. Apparently, she did like an interview on TV, or maybe a couple of interviews. I haven't seen anything. Anything pre-trial stuff, I haven't really seen. I've read some articles here and there about how she had like online supporters and something about witness intimidation by some guy named Turtle Boy or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't really know too much about this case. We're kind of just all going it together, okay, with a blank mind, almost a blank mind. Not as blank as the jury, though, because we definitely have way more information. And we get to research stuff. But anyways, y'all, I hope you guys have a good one. I think I will probably post the Paige Hannah video. I'll work on editing that. But if there's anything else you guys want me to cover, let me know. If there's any true crime stories out there you guys are interested in. I don't know if there's anything that's going on. What else? Let's see. I don't know if there's anything else that's going on around that I have my eyes on. Oh, Chad Daybell. But I can't. 2 trials at the same time is hard to juggle, honestly. Thanks, Kiki. Turtle Boy is nutty from what I can tell. Apparently, I thought he would be banned from coming into the courtroom. Is he in the courtroom watching the trial? I thought he would be banned from coming in, but it seems like the judge, he's allowed to watch the trial. So I don't know if he's like in there Can't really tell who's who. Oh, Shiro, you're so cute. Am I doing games later? I think so. I think we will. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go eat some lunch, and I'll probably be back on Twitch and just play some video games. You know, it's been a while, but I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much for chatting. Thanks for keeping me busy. Thanks for lurking, having me in the background, whatever it is. And yeah, I appreciate you guys popping in. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care, and we'll see what we do with tomorrow, if we stream or not. But I'm totally invested in this fucking case. It's so interesting to me. But I just, oh God, there's just so many people that we're going through right now. I want to move quicker, but I get it. You got to go slow and steady and get all the information you can. But we're barely there. Oh man, we're just barely touching the surface. But I hope you guys have a good one. Take care, and I will see y'all later. I put a back pain yoga session for you in Discord. Wait, what? A back pain yoga session for me? What is a back pain yoga session? What is that? Am I gonna break my back or something? Oh boy. All right, y'all. Oh, also, if you guys are interested in seeing the 34 Fairview house, I posted the Zillow posting on the Discord. So you can see the layout of the house, the basement, all that stuff, the backyard. Addicted, but gotta get some Z's. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. Bye, Lisette. Thank you so much. You guys take care, and I will see y'all a different day. Bye-bye.